All right.
I can say Jason Tatum sucks just as I hit go live.
Hey Tone, this is what happens, Tone. It's the same like Russ, where Russ does things where he'll turn the basketball over, and it's not just a turnover that was created by the defense. He'll do something where you see the turnover and you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm thinking to myself, Russ, when you do stuff like this, man, it makes it so difficult for me to defend you, yo. It just does. The wolves just come out of hiding when you do stuff like this, and they attack me, and I have no defense for that. So when Jason Tatum, who has missed in the first quarter in the playoffs, Tone, his first 19 shots, he's 0 for 19 in the first quarter in the playoffs. I just want to put that out there. Add that to the.
I don't know how they're winning. He's 0 for 11 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3. His 1 point is on the free throw. Now, he's got 7 rebounds and 6 assists, a steal and a couple of blocks.
Garbage.
But how are you going to call yourself an MVP, top 5 player in the league?
Delusion.
And that's what you're doing. I just
CH. What did I say? I told you.
We're not doing that.
So you want me to take this down? Or you want to get to this later?
No, we're going to get to this.
No, we'll get in a second.
We're definitely going to get to this. But CH, this is what I'm talking about, because what we do now is we get wrapped up in the right now. So when Jason Tatum eventually, because he's not going to just be this bad forever. It's going to turn around. And when it turns around, all of a sudden, man, Jason Tatum is a top 5 player in the league, or Jason Tatum is one of the best small forwards. He might be the best small forward in the league. So that time is coming. But as of right now, when he does stuff like this, it makes it hard to defend him, but I'm still riding with him. That's my man.
But let me ask you this. I'm just going to throw out 5 names, and you tell me if they would be given the leeway that Tatum is being given by you. LeBron James.
Nope.
Kevin Durant.
Nope.
Luka Doncic.
Nope.
Nikola Jokic.
Nope.
Joel Embiid.
Nope. So with that being said, Tone, when we open up the show, what did I say?
Tatum sucks.
Okay. So it's not like so it's not like, yo, this dude is garbage and I'm done with him. No, we still family. You suck though.
Yeah, and here's where I just
ask you, if you were family, would you be standing behind the bench yelling at him? Yo, like what the
we might get in a fight.
Mm-hmm.
We might for real get in a fight. Me and him. We might get in a fight. But to be honest with you, I don't think he's that kind of guy though. I think he's the kind of guy who we got to sit down and we got to have a cup of coffee. We got to sit down and we need to have a talk. Like what's going on with you, brother? What's happening with you right now? Because it looks like you're rushing your game. It looks like there's a lot of pressure on you. It looks like you're trying to be something that you already are. The example that I gave you, Tone, was me and you had this conversation a while ago. The example that I gave you was Morpheus in Matrix, where Morpheus and Neo were having a fight, and Morpheus was telling him, "Stop trying to hit me and just hit me." It looks like Jason Tatum is doing exactly that. It looks like he's trying to score instead of just scoring. It looks like he's trying to shoot the basketball instead of just shooting. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not as simple to turn your brain off. But when you've done this as many times as he's done it, been in the league for as long as he's been in the league, we shouldn't have stretches like this. I never had to worry about the greats like Scottie Pippen going 0 for 10. Even if Scottie Pippen wasn't going to give me 30, I didn't have to worry about him going 0 for 10. I'm thinking about small forwards, Tone. I didn't have to worry about Bird going 0 for 10. I didn't have to worry about stuff like that. I didn't have to worry about Jordan going 0 for 10. That stuff didn't concern me. So he looks like there's something else going on there.
Sorry, someone said I had a crazy beard, so I was just checking it out.
I'll give you my thoughts, Jay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I you know how I feel about Tatum, and I agree with you. Like, I feel like off the court, he's a great young man. Like, I think he's a nice guy, but my frustration with him is that people want to put him so badly into the superstar category, and he just isn't there. And the postseason is a huge, huge piece of who you are. Your whole point is to play to win, and he obviously got to the finals. He's been to the Eastern Conference Finals. So it's not to say he hasn't done anything. He's done more than some, stars did their whole career, but he's not a superstar. Right. And I'm not going to continue to put him in that category. And I also, like I said, for the last year, I think Jaylen Brown steps up. Not that he's played great this postseason either. I think they've both struggled. But I think that Jaylen Brown, he deserves to be – if Tatum deserves that conversation, Jaylen Brown deserves that conversation. And at the end of the day, where I see like this maybe going in the future is that needs to be separated. I think that maybe they need to, go separate ways. And maybe this postseason will shed light on that. But
so you think what's holding Tatum back is having Jaylen Brown?
Holding him back? No, yeah. I think he is who he is. Tatum is who he is, but I think that it would do. I think some of the frustration that maybe they feel internally, I don't think they'd ever say it out loud, is that they both need to take a lot of shots. They both like to have the ball and score, right? That's what they do. And I think that Jaylen Brown isn't getting enough on-ball experience, time versus Tatum's getting a little bit too much. But I think that Tatum needs a different type of player alongside him, maybe somebody that doesn't have to be on ball or plays so similarly to him, but maybe more of maybe a different big, or maybe somebody like a playmaker, somebody that can get him better looks, that can really run the floor for him. I mean, they have a ton. They have such a great team already. But maybe it's more for Jaylen Brown that I see that he would.
Yeah, I struggle with that because Boston has maybe the best roster in the NBA.
Yeah.
And if you look at any team that's successful, there's at least two guys that not need to have the ball, but have the ball and need to take a lot of shots. Like, the Warriors have Steph and Clay. There's a clear 1-2 there.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys
is there a clear 1-2 on Boston? I think there is. I think it's the wrong way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's when I see stuff like this, and I know, look, it's a small sample size in the playoffs, but I've always said his inconsistency, every time I look to his bad games, it's similar to what I'm about to say, like today. I don't know, he's maybe missed a couple of more shots since, but last I checked, he was 0 for 11 and 0 for 5 from 3. Well, half of your shots can't be threes. I'm sorry, 50% of your shots cannot be threes. That's just not who he is.
Yeah.
Get him going. And I feel like he keeps trying to shoot himself into a rhythm when we all know there's very few people that are like that. There's some, but for the most part, it's, hey, get the easy buckets, get the layups, get the dunks, get the middies. And then once you're in the flow of the game, then start hitting the long ball. Very few people come in and just jack up a three. Oh yeah, I'm hot, I'm ready to go. Like that, you've seen people do it, and people say, what about this guy and that guy? Yes, there's exceptions, but for the most part, I don't think that's him.
The biggest problem is I've seen the other stuff in his game,
and it's good,
and it's really good,
Yeah.
But because he's so enamored with that other stuff, he's so enamored with the long ball or getting to the rim, that the other stuff, the mid-range, his ability to penetrate the defense and make plays, because I've seen that other stuff in his game, which is why I feel the way I do about him. It's difficult to watch stuff like this, because I'm thinking to myself, I know that you can be that. I've seen, not glimpses, I've seen long stretches of that. Tone and I have had this conversation for years now, where I'm still trying to sell him, Tone, Tatum is that guy. And we have stuff like this going on where it's now more difficult for me to sell it, because it's more of this and less of what I'm trying to sell him, because he sees this more. So now the more you guys see this, the less likely you're going to see the other stuff. And what I'm trying to sell you about how good I think he is just going away, when I've already seen that other stuff. And I'm like, this guy has the goods. He does.
But I've said it a million times. You've got to bring it in and night out. And when it's a game like this, you
can't go.
Yeah. You have to bring 12, 0 for 11, 0 for 11, 0 for 12. Like, that's just.
Yeah. And here's my thought process with him. Like, when I watch him, Or when you compare it to maybe like a KD or Steph Curry or somebody who might not be scoring or having a good, shooting night, the best case scenario is to make up for it in other ways. And Tatum has the skill set to do that. My frustration is when he's having a bad night, he's so down on himself that energy then it's contagious to your teammates. Like he'll complain a lot. He'll cry to the refs. He'll go and sit on the sideline and he'll be frustrated. Like you have to keep your own energy up and like talk yourself out of it. And he doesn't do that. He just hangs his head low. And that's just not good leadership. That's where I find Jaylen Brown to be a better fit for that leadership. Like you don't see Jaylen Brown crying about it. You see him stepping up and getting the energy good again. And so, yeah, I think that's just where I personally don't like it. But yeah, Jay, like you said, he has the ability. And
I don't just say that. I don't just say that about anybody. Like when I see a guy, it takes a lot for me to get on board with a guy because I've seen so many great players and so many all-time great players. So when I see a guy that I think has the goods, it takes a minute for me to get on board. Like, is this legit?
Yeah.
But I remember watching Jason Tatum as a rookie in the summer league in Salt Lake City in 2017. And I'm like, this guy got 20. He got 20 a game written all over him. He's going to be a star one day. I just saw him and I just felt like he was it. And he's been building himself up to that. I think that it's the mental part of his game.
Yeah.
That I think screws him up more than anything because all the tools are there. It's all there. 100%. It's all there. It's just a matter of putting it all together, which goes back to the growing pains argument that I had earlier. Now, I'm not letting him off the hook, Tom, because how did we start this conversation? He sucked.
He sucks.
He sucked. Let's be honest. It wouldn't be fair to me to come up here and tell you guys, well, he's going through this, he's going through that, and not mention he sucked. He's not very good. And it has to be that he has to bring that other stuff with him in order for him to get to that next level. He has to, because I've seen that. I know he's got the goods. I know he does.
Is he really shooting 7.7% from the field?
Tony, he's 1 for 12. 1 for 12. Garbage.
Oh my God.
And the shot that he just made on Tobias Harris a couple of minutes ago, he basically pushed him into the front row. Which I can get with that. At some point, Tony, I'm just going to put my head down. I'm going to the basket. I need to see this ball going. I need to see the ball going.
You don't see that drive in him. You have seen it. Like I see streaks, like you say, I've seen streaks of it, but you don't see that like fire like you saw in Devin Booker the other night or Jamal Murray, who these guys are like literally on fire. And if he wants to be in that category of a superstar, he has to be that on a consistent basis. And I just don't see that. But I mean, he is good. But this might be their last shot. We'll have to see. Like they might not have another run this season. So do you think that we talked about this, but you think Jaylen Brown will be there next season, no matter what, even if
he's not leaving that money on the table. He's not.
Okay.
Yeah, because now he got the All NBA, so he's gonna get the Supermax, right?
Boston offered him the most, and he's not leaving that money on the table. Really quick, and I don't bother too much with. They could do a sign and trade. I don't bother too much with the chat. Hey, Keyshawn, do yourself a favor. Go do your homework. I believe Luka and the Dallas Mavericks are in 11th place, and they home watching the playoffs. Quiet, goofball. Quiet.
I didn't even see that.
Enough already. Quiet.
Oh my goodness.
I got too much.
Okay. Fluent. We have a little piece from LeBron James, the king himself.
You want some LeCap? You want some LeCap?
LeCap. Yes, we do. Let's see what he said. Awesome. So says we don't work on flopping. We're just not a team that goes out there and looking for flopping opportunities. That's just not us. There's actually never been any teams that I've played on in my 20 years where we've been a flopping team.
Huh?
LeBron James.
What? What? What?
Yeah.
I would have believed Steph Curry if he would have come out and said, we're not a 3-point shooting team. More than I believe this.
What is like, dude? No, this is actually. I'm getting so tired of the Lakers.
Hold on, can we go back? Can we go back 6 months?
Yeah.
Can we go back 6 months when I told you guys about LeCap James, and I gave you the examples of how he discovered Migos and how he, discovered the theory of relativity. Like, and you guys were like, "No, that's not him. He did it." Really? Really?
Yeah.
I'd rather him say the truth, which is, you know what? refs call the games a certain way, he doesn't have to say, yeah, we practice flopping, but he can say, hey, refs call the game a certain way, and as players, we need to adjust to the way the refs are calling the game. And we all know what that means. It's refs keep falling for the flop, so I'm gonna keep flopping. I'm okay with that because that's again I keep saying that's not shame on LeBron. That's not shame on the other guy. He's not the only one. That's not shame on the guys that flop. That's shame on the league. That's shame on the refs for falling for it. So
plenty of guys in the league do it. Plenty
of guys, absolutely. It's
plenty of guys in the league do it.
Time in every sport. So I'm not. Everyone's like, you just hate LeBron. No, I'm saying good for him that he's doing it because these refs are falling for it. But to come out and say we've never, like, don't say anything instead of lie. You can't be that good
there's a difference, Tone.
Either work on it or they're just naturally talented at it.
That's what I was about to say, Tone. There's a difference between doing it and actually working on it and perfecting it and making it an art. Now, nobody's going to deny anybody that watches James, and you know I'm a James guy. There's nobody that's a James guy that's going to deny that he has flopped before. 100%.
We've seen him not get hit and fall over like he was shot.
We've seen that before. Okay, that part we've seen.
He moved to LA.
Right. We've seen that
Hollywood,
part before.
baby.
Yeah. However, to say that as a team we're working like we practice this, I mean, how can you practice flopping?
I'll tell you, because like I said, flopping has been around since the beginning of time. Again, depending on the sport, but it's a thing like in practice. So, for example, last night in the game, LeBron James, he didn't have a full head of steam, but he was moving, and he caught the ball, turned around, and hit Steph Curry. Mm-hmm. There's a time when a player would have flopped to the ground and got knocked back 20 feet. Steph Curry just stood there and went like that and just took it because the refs haven't been calling it.
Right.
Well, you can do that. I find it very hard to believe that in practice, I'm not saying, okay, let's work on our flopping, guys. I'm not saying that, but in practice, okay, let me give you an example and bring it back around for a second. Mm-hmm. When someone's posting you up and you're taught to, hey, put your leg kind of in that area so that they put their weight on you and then pull the chair up from under them, right?
Right. You
feel that they're putting their weight on you. You work on that. So when you say, hey, when a guy drives into you like this and hits you with the ball, you got to sell it. So you might not be working on the flop, but you're saying, hey, when you take that, sell it. Throw your hands up in the air, wave them around like you just don't care. Like that is what coaches tell you to do. So it's not.
Now, with that being said, Tone, it's a difference between selling it and actually flopping.
It's gone too far now, but they're overselling it now.
And this team, we have to be honest, this team particularly, you look at Austin Reeves. I was a huge AR-15 guy. Okay, I really like Austin Reeves. I like that he is just, a second-year guy who's just absolutely killing it out there. But you watch him, it's like what I say with Chris Paul. I don't like the Phoenix Suns because they're like Chris Paul minions. They adapt. That's their leader. That's the guy they look up to. Chris Paul is an incredible all-time, fantastic player. But he has a certain thing that he puts on these guys and they adapt that to that mentality. They do the same with LeBron James. If I was playing with LeBron, I'd probably try to do everything and replicate everything that he does because it's LeBron James. You want to be the best teammate that you can. Austin Reeves is the biggest flopper now in the NBA because of this man. And I understand it. But the whole Rui, Austin Reeves, Schroeder, especially LeBron, AD, these dudes are a team that does and goes and looks for opportunities to flop. We have to be honest, and they're getting the calls, so it doesn't really matter. It's like James Harden. It's annoying to watch, but he gets away with it. He's mastered that. Not as much anymore.
Hailey, do you think they practice flopping?
No. So that part I agree with. The other part is cap.
Okay. Because like I said, I think I'm in the middle, right? Like I said, I don't think they practice flopping on the ground like a fish out of water. But But listen, and hey, keep me honest here. Sell it, right? You've heard them say sell it. That's something that we've all heard as athletes. Sell it, right? Sell it. Like when you get fouled on a play, sell it. Again, not like you got shot, but sell it. So that's what I'm saying, to suggest that it's not something that's even thought about, or it's just no, we just go out and play. And when I know that I could probably put together a 10-minute, and again, not just him, tons of players in every sport. So let's be very clear. He just happens to be the poster child for it right now because of this quote. It's not just Braun. It's tons of players in tons of sports. But to suggest that like we don't do it, we don't think about it when you absolutely should, because the refs are giving you that call, like that's so disingenuous to me. Like I said, I'd rather he said nothing, or like I said, maybe my PR background is coming out where I say the nice way to say it is, listen, the refs are calling it a certain way. We need to, adjust our game to the way that the refs are calling the game. That's basically saying, yeah, I'm flopping because they're calling it. Without saying that, I'm okay with that. So, hey, you know what?
I feel like that's what he was doing, though.
Need a PR guy? Come give me a holla.
And we have to be honest, like the question asked was because of what Steve Kerr had said. He kind of blatantly said, like, they're getting these calls because of flopping. So I understand why. I watched this post game, and he was really respectful, like the way he answered it and everything. But it was just like, you're like you're sugarcoating the reality. But hey, it's okay. It's LeBron, and plus he gets away with it.
And that part of a coach's psychological edge to have on another team where he's working the referees through the media, they're flopping. So now what referees do in the next game, we're gonna pay more attention to that sort of stuff, because I'm not gonna just say it directly to the reps where I'm gonna end up getting a fine and I gotta write a check. No, I'm gonna mention stuff like this indirectly through the media. Phil Jackson was a master at that. Where he would work the referees through the media, and it worked. So,
but I gotta admit though, I get it, but at the same time, I hate it. I hate the fact that a player can influence the way, and I know it's true, but can influence a way that the game is called. Like that drives me. I know nothing you can do about it, but that drives me nuts, because you see from game to game, especially in the playoffs, they're calling it a certain way. Somebody makes a big stink about it, in the press conference, and the next day you see they're calling it different. And you're like, dude, like if it's a foul, it's a foul. If it's a rule, it's a rule. Like, stop. That drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever going to change, but it still drives me nuts.
It's basically why I'm going to, like, the Warriors will not. There's 2 games where the Lakers outplayed the Warriors 100%. There's 2 games one game where it was blatantly one direction. And I'd say last night the Dubs actually got a majority of the better calls, especially being at home. Like, that's typically how it goes. But this series especially has been extremely, like, thrown. Doesn't it take away from the quality of the game when you watch a team? It happened with the Nuggets and the Suns too. Like there's just games where the refs are blatantly calling for one team and not the other, and it just takes away from like the quality of the game. Maybe it's just me. Of course, I'm biased with that series.
There's a number of calls in this and that are questionable, but I think I think you could do that in every series.
And I think that's happening. And do you think that happens more? And also, I'll ask you, Jay, too. What do you think about MJ's flopping career? Because it was non-existent, right?
I don't remember Jay being a flopper. No, Jay was not.
I would say this. I couldn't find one at the top of my head where I was like he blatantly flopped. No. But I will tell you this. I've seen him sell it. Yeah. I've seen him work the officials. I've seen him like get in an official's face and be like, hey, did you see that? He did this.
He did do that.
Because of his clout as a superstar, they would look for it the next time around, or there was the one infamous one where they're mic'd up and the ref is like, I didn't see it, Mike, but I trust you. Okay, that's a foul.
Right. Are you sure? Are you sure that's a foul? Right.
If you mic up any superstar, and I don't care how far, go Wilt, go Kareem, go Magic, go Bird, go Jordan, go Kobe, go LeBron, there was a every ref has had that type of conversation where it's like, oh, hey, you know what? And as a ref, and Jake can probably attest to this as well. You've had that conversation where it's like, you know what? I didn't see it. Maybe I missed it. Right. And if you know it's the best player in the world, you're kind of like, hey, I'll look out for it. Absolutely. Like, hey, you miss things. You're a human being, and they happen that fast.
Right.
So
they're people. They're gonna have biases.
I can't say I remember a time when he blatantly flopped.
Yeah.
What happened?
I just wondered.
Huh?
No,
I don't remember.
That's not happening. But it's a difference between flopping and selling it and working the officials. And Jay did that plenty of times.
Oh, absolutely.
Working the officials, and not just flopping where he's flailing all over the place. But no, he's not doing that. But he's definitely working the officials, and he's definitely selling an offensive foul where he's sliding back 10 feet when he got hit. Right? Yeah. He's definitely doing that. Or he's definitely, if he gets hit on a foul, he's definitely selling it a little bit more to let you know that this has been going on. So if he gets hit just a little bit, the next trip, You're going to blow the whistle because you're looking for that. You're looking for that really hard foul.
Yeah.
So he's going to sell it a little bit more. That's working the officials. Now, when you got a guy like James who, when he gets the ball poked out from the back, or he ends up getting back screen and he acts like he just ran into a brick wall. Come on now. We're doing a little bit extra.
Let me be clear. I'm okay with them doing it if it's the refs that are letting them get away with it. Like, that's on the refs. The refs are saying, like, honestly, you've seen times where someone gets hit and the refs don't call it because they got hit and they stood there. And so the next time down the court, they get hit and they fall to the ground, they call the foul. Well, that's on the ref because, well, you told me that if I don't do this, you're not going to call it. So, you know, how do you blame the flopper? Because
but it's widespread now, so much so that like they had to implement rules in the NBA. Like, we need you to write a check for $5,000 if you do this again.
Yeah,
we're gonna implement a technical foul because this is so out of control. And when you're talking about guys who flop now, okay, again, James is a guy who does sell it a lot more than others, but Bill Laimbeer was the epitome of a flopper. Okay. Danny Ainge, if you look up the definition of flopper, there might be a picture of Danny Ainge in the dictionary. Okay. Dennis Rodman was the ultimate flopper and seller of it. So this didn't start with James. This didn't start in this generation. It just got enhanced in this generation. The guys before them, Danny Ainge, Bill Laimbeer, Dennis Rodman, these guys were the epitome of that.
Let me just, you brought up Danny Ainge, and I want to pause for a second on Danny Ainge because Danny Ainge gets a lot of bad press because of his hairstyle and the way that he looks. And I want to put this out there, and I know that me and someone on TikTok have been having a conversation, and so I'm putting it out there because I know you watch the show to tell you this. Danny Ainge was not only drafted into the NBA and played a ton of years on a lot of really good teams and was a very, very, very good basketball player. But just when you say he's not athletic, he's not this, he's not that. He was also drafted to play professional baseball by the Toronto Blue Jays. He was also a top recruit wide receiver playing football. So he lettered in all three of those sports. He was an All-American basketball, baseball, and football player as a wide receiver. Please stop telling me that dude, like,
Danny Ainge was an elite athlete. Danny Ainge wasn't a good athlete. He was an elite athlete.
Driver. That drives me nuts.
With that being said, H, you know the guy or the girl that you've seen who's got a face that you just want to punch in the face? That's Danny Ainge. That's Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge is the person, like, he don't even have to say nothing to you, but he has that face where if he comes up to you, you just want to punch him in the face. Yeah. He just has that face. And that's who Danny Ainge was. He was the guy who you didn't want to play against him, but you wanted him on your team. He was more the irritant, but he was also a damn good player too. But he was a flopper. So it didn't originate with James. It just got enhanced by guys like James and Chris Bosh. It got enhanced by those dudes.
Yeah.
And Kyle Lowry. Yeah. Guys like that. So give me a break.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. Just make sure that the calls are going both ways.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean, if you can get away with it, that's on you. That's on the officials, and that's what we see now. I think it's just when it happens too much, it kind of ruins the game. But
in my neighborhood, his name was Alan. Alan. Every time someone saw
that
Alan,
was the guy.
Everybody wanted to punch him in the face. I loved him having him on my team, but when he was on the other team, I just want to punch him in the face. What up, Alan?
Sorry, Alan. Okay. All right. Moving on to two other dudes that are getting some criticism, actually quite a lot of criticism right now, would be DeAndre Ayton and Jordan Poole. So, Fluent, give me a breakdown of those two. Do you think they deserve kind of all this criticism that's coming their way? And they're both young, actually. Are they both 23, 24? They're pretty much the same age.
25.
Oh, okay. Is he 25? Yeah. So
Ayton ain't that old. Ayton is not that old.
He just looks 75.
Yeah, he just looks that old. He's not that old.
Yeah,
He only been in the league 5. This is year 5. I think Ayton is. I think he just turned 23. If he is 23.
Okay. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on them right now? And what can they do to turn this thing around? Are they?
Well, what they can do to turn things around is try. There seems to be especially Ayton, there seems to be a lack of effort. But here's the thing. With high draft picks, and Ayton was, I believe, first overall, with big contracts, Jordan Poole, what, $130 million. With those contracts, with 140, with those with that draft pick, with that extension, come expectations.
Yeah.
Expectation. And if you don't like it, then don't sign the damn deal. Like, I'm sorry. Like that, when people say, oh, you're putting too much pressure, and no, you're the first overall draft pick. There's an expectation. You sign a $140 million contract, there's an expectation. You want to go around acting a certain way, playing a certain way, you're going to be criticized. And I think Ayton, I believe, is hurt. There's been a string of injuries, by the way. We got to talk about that in a minute. But Ayton is hurt, but people keep showing that one where he's standing out of bounds, watching like 2-3 guys fight for the rebound, and he's just standing there watching them. Like stuff like that can't happen. Like you might not like the role on this team, but your role on this team, to steal Jay's line, is to be a rim runner, to rim protect, to get rebounds. That's what they need, because they got KD and Book to score, right? They had CP3, but he's hurt too, to kind of facilitate the offense. And that's your job on this team, right? They traded a lot of defensive players away to get KD. That's where we need you to step up and give effort. I'm not asking him to be an all-world defender, but I'm asking him to try. Just give me one more day. No, I want, but I want him to try. And when it comes to Jordan Poole's in a tough spot, because Jordan Poole is a shooter. But I think Jordan Poole's more like a Klay Thompson, come off some screens, spot up shooter, than a off the dribble Steph Curry shooter. And I feel like he's trying to be Steph, but he's actually more Klay. And when the shot's not going down, well, what else can you do? Right? What else can you do to help the team? And if it's nothing, then it's sit your butt down next to me. Or can I go out and do something uncharacteristic? Can I, look at, like, I don't think he's much. I think he's the same size as Josh Hart. Josh Hart's gone out and become a rebounder.
Yes.
Right? Like,
he might be the best rebounding guard in the game. He might be. Now,
I'm not suggesting Jordan Poole can be the best, but go out and grab some boards, go out and get some steals, go out and take some charges, go out, effort goes a long way in basketball. And when your shot isn't going down, find something else to do. And I think instead he's kind of like, just putting his head down and like, oh, it's not going for me. It's everybody else's fault but his own. And Mom always used to say, when things start going wrong, the first place you look is the mirror.
First place you look is the mirror. Well, I think what we also have to have been disregarding is the fact that when KD gets on this unit, automatically they're the team to beat, and not recognizing that Denver has a better team than Phoenix does.
Yeah.
I think that they have a better team. I think that Denver is, from top to bottom, not more talented. I think they're more cohesive. I think Phoenix is more talented with KD, with Devin Booker, with when they had Chris Paul. I thought that they had a little bit more talent, but I think that Denver, the way that they play off Joker, not just the way that they play off Joker offensively, but how much that energizes them defensively, because they feel like we can beat anybody because we can score with anybody. And that's going to get them to give you even more effort defensively. So when I look at Aaron Gordon rim running, when Aaron Gordon is rim running, Joker is looking for him. Jamal Murray is looking for him, which is going to cause him to rebound more, which is going to cause him to play defense more. Now, you got a guy like DeAndre Ayton, who also is rim running. Well, they don't really involve him in the offense as much. So what does he not do? Well, he doesn't rebound as much. He doesn't rim run as much as he should. He doesn't defend as much as he should. And the reason why is because I don't think that cohesiveness is there. He's already dropped from being the third guy. So when KD got on the crew, to now he's the fourth guy. Yeah. And now he's turned into a dirty work guy. Now, mind you, this is the number one overall pick in the draft. As the number one overall pick in the draft, I'm the guy. I mean, you didn't bring me in here to be a dirty work guy. You brought me in here to run the offense through me, for me to be a cornerstone of this franchise. But it's obvious that they're not that way with him. They don't feel like that about him. And Tone, I still stand on the logic. When you got a player that's on your roster and we're going into year 5 and you still haven't extended him to what he wants, it's obvious that you're not that guy that they're looking for. Because if you were, Luka got extended. Trae Young got extended. So with these guys getting extended for what they wanted, you would have thought that DeAndre Ayton would have got extended for what he wanted. Well, Phoenix was already on the fence about him. Plus, with the trade that they just had, where they gave up a whole lot of assets, I think that weakened them defensively. So I think that Denver, more than anything, is just a better team. And I think it's going to show tonight.
Would it surprise you? Because we were talking about this on the panel earlier today, and I was looking it up, and I was surprised. Like, you know, there's only 8 guys, so 5 starters and 3 off the bench on Denver that are averaging double-digit minutes per game.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 11 on the Suns.
That's averaging double-digit minutes.
Yeah, like
well, that makes sense. Yeah, because they're all having to kind of the bench is really having to pick up a lot of pieces.
Denver's really only playing 3 people off the bench.
That's it. They got an 8-man rotation.
They got an 8-man rotation, and it's 11. Is that they're just trying stuff? Like
that's exactly what's going on.
I was surprised by it because I was with you, where I was like, I thought Denver was deeper, but they're not going deeper. They're going 8. So I was surprised by that.
Which we got to remember too. There was a majority of us calling for Coach Williams to dig deeper into that bench, which he did. Mm-hmm. And he hasn't really been getting the production that would help them out as much as they should. So, you know, Terrence Ross gives them good minutes, right? Not only does Terrence Ross gives them good minutes. Shamet gave them good minutes coming off the bench. They finally got some good minutes out of TJ Warren. So in the process of them doing that, he has dug into his bench. But with that being said, when you see a guy like Mike Malone only play 8 guys in a series, he's essentially telling you that this is who we are.
Yeah.
There is no in-between. There is no in-betweens of what we're doing. This is us. Stop us. That's just it.
Are we at the point yet where my Ayton isn't who everyone thought he was, is correct yet, or does he still have time because he's young?
I think he's in the wrong spot, Tone. I do. I think that he's in a different place, and they're involving him more. We're talking about a different Ayton than what we're talking about right now. I think that's the problem.
Where do you think he should be?
I think that him being in Indiana would help. I do like him in Indiana. Yeah, because of Halliburton.
In Indiana.
Halliburton being the distributor that he is. I think that him rim running, and I think that he could give them more than what what the big fella is giving them. I keep forgetting Tyler. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? Not Halliburton. Halliburton's the lead guard.
Mathurin, that guy?
No, not Mathurin. I'm talking about the big guy that they have. Well, he stretches. Miles Turner. That's what I'm thinking about. He stretches the defense, right? But if they had a guy like Ayton, who was more of a rim runner, who was more of a defender, that offense can be built more around him and Mathurin.
So are you trading Turner for Ayton?
Wasn't that the original desired deal? When they offered it?
Yes, but the difference is Phoenix matched it because Do you
think he wanted that though?
No, he didn't. He did not want to go back to Phoenix.
He didn't want to go back to Phoenix.
He did not want to go back.
It was such an awkward.
Why would you want to go where you're not wanted?
Yeah, he didn't want to go back to Phoenix. No, and him being in Indiana, I think he's better for them considering Mathurin's emerging. Halliburton being a distributor that he is, right? Yeah. So they would involve him more. They would involve Ayton more in the offense than Phoenix does. And I think that would get him to play better. And I think he would be good in San Antonio too.
Yeah. Yeah. And those guys are younger too. So and a lot more. Yeah, I like that Tyrese Ayton pair. That could be good.
So I mentioned Ayton. So Ayton's gonna miss now, right? The next game.
Game 6.
So he's gonna miss game 6. CP3 is gonna miss game 6. Andrew Wiggins is gonna miss game 6.
Wiggins?
He's playing.
Nope, he's out.
Wiggins?
Yeah, it just happened.
I thought he's questionable.
He's
not ruled out. He has a broken rib, but I'm pretty sure he's questionable.
I'm thinking he's out.
I didn't know that.
I guess he probably couldn't play with him.
Has this playoff season been marred by all the injuries?
Yes.
Is it any different than 21 when Kyrie got banged up and Giannis got hurt and was able to come back? I mean, has it been any different than Book hurt that?
Or that was the
Did,
next season.
did we get? I mean, Anthony Davis being out the lineup, and James with his Chris Paul. So I mean, was it? I know that's part of the game, but injury. Your best ability is your availability, Tone. And I don't look at any team and go, "Yo, this guy was hurt." And it's not to say that I'm not going to say no excuses. No, I'm not going to say that because it is valid. It is valid if you're hurt, but what I can't do is I can't take away from this guy the fact that you was hurt. Okay, you were hurt. You weren't available.
You got to play who's in front of you.
That's it. That's all we can do. I'm not going to look down on Giannis because Kyrie Irving got hurt. No, I'm not going to look down on Giannis because Chris Paul was banged up. No, absolutely not. I'm not going to look down on Giannis because he didn't see Anthony Davis in the finals because Anthony Davis got hurt. Well, that's the only reason why y'all won it. Well, hey man, that's not my problem. That's a them problem. That's not a me problem. So
the injuries, it's tough because when a Magic goes down, when a Worthy goes down, and your team gets swept, you're kind of like, well, they got swept, but but they put it on. Let's say they put it on Magic's legacy. Well, he got swept. Yeah, but you played a game and a half.
That was it.
Giannis got knocked out in the first round, but he played 2 games of the series.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not giving them excuses, but I am kind of just saying, let's just be aware of it, right? Like people will praise guys for losing. What was it, 2016 that Kyrie and Love went down, and 15, and they're LeBron took him to 6 or what? And I'm like, well,
there's a difference between there's a difference, Tone, between a reason and an excuse. Because a reason can be justified, right? But an excuse is something that's repetitive. And if you keep giving me excuses, eventually people are going to be like, all right, that's enough of that.
And that's what I'm saying. Hey, that's the reason the outcome happened. Right. But it doesn't change the outcome. And if this person was healthy, it would have been different. I don't know. Maybe it would have been different. I don't know. Everything changes. It's a butterfly effect. One little thing could change everything. But anyways.
That's a good point.
But you think, Hailey, you said, because when I said the injuries, you said yes. It's I don't want to say it, but.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I mean, right now where we're sitting, like you said, we have Chris Paul, Ayton, Wiggins now. Like, there's just been so many injuries. Jimmy Butler. And I don't think it's an excuse whatsoever, but I think that it's frustrating to see. But it's also interesting because it kind of mixes the bag. We're not going to see a Bucks versus a, I don't know, Kings matchup or any. Like we because of injuries, it does change the dynamic of what could be, which I think is a good thing. But yeah, I think Jamal's out tonight. Is that correct? Jamal
is Murray. He's questionable. Yeah, he's questionable.
So then he'll probably play. But so now we have to kind of discuss that. Do you think that
6 minutes left? Sorry, 6 minutes left. 81.
I know.
Sixers. Go ahead.
We'll keep our eyes on it. But
Murray is sick. He's not injured. Sorry, Murray is sick.
I think he hurt his ankle. I think it's
no. He's got He's. I thought it was illness.
That's going around. Gary Payton was puking on the floor. Looney's been sick. Like all these things are happening. I probably gave
him what I had last week.
Yeah. But so, what are your guys' prediction for tonight? Because I had the Nuggets winning and wrapping this thing up tonight. But now with Jamal, questionable. Who knows? These things could change. But what are you guys thinking for tonight?
I still think that Denver's got the better team, man. I do. I think that they got the better all-around team. I think KD and Booker are going to have to do way too much in order for them not to win, just to stay in this. When you look at this Denver team, how from 1 through 8, I think that they're better on the bottom side of that roster, that rotation from 1 through 8 than Phoenix is. And I think that they do more. I think they're a better rebounding team. I think they're a better defensive team. I think when they get in their sets, I think that they're more fluent. Yes, you are more fluent now. I think that I think they're more
fluent.
There you go. I think they're more fluent when they are in their sets. And I think that they get what they want. When I think about Denver, I think that with them playing the way that they play, even though Book doesn't get taken out of his game, but it's more difficult for them to score in bunches like that than it is for Denver. Even though you see him Book getting what he gets, it's more difficult for them as a group to score than it is Denver.
Yeah, for sure. They have to find those shots. You know what's interesting too? This happens to me every postseason. Like, I'm not the biggest Jokic fan by any means, not the biggest Nuggets fan, but man, I love every time the postseason comes around, I fall in love with Jokic at every time again because I love Jokic. Sometimes it feels like he hasn't done as much this season because he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to carry that weight of the team as much as he's had prior to, the injuries, but man, I actually really love the Nuggets. They might not be the most exciting team to watch, but I wouldn't be mad if they end up winning because I'm looking at like the Warriors Lakers. I'm guessing the Lakers are going to advance, and then I'm guessing they'll play matchup with the Nuggets. And if I had to choose, I still think that the Nuggets are a better knit unit and seem to have more chemistry than even the Lakers. Even though the Lakers are playing so well, I'll just be honest.
Watch your mouth.
I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. I think Denver could really do some damage on LA, but what do you think, Fluent? Do you think they'd be fine?
Denver has been consistently the best team the whole season. They've been maybe the one consistent. If you look at every team in the NBA this season, I believe everybody has had something, with the exception of Denver. Denver's just been going about their business. Just which bodes well for them in the playoffs because it's the same thing. Now, I had Philadelphia closing out the series tonight, and I had Denver actually losing. I had Phoenix pushing them to Game 7, but I still have Denver winning the series because I had Denver in 7 kind of from the beginning. So yeah, they're still the most, dare I say, complete team. Yeah, like if you think right,
they are.
They've been the healthiest team for most of the season. They've been the most consistent team for most of the season. And there's something to be said about that. Listen, when you're in the playoffs, all you got to do is make sure you win 4 out of every 7 and you're good.
That's it.
And they've been that, I know it sounds simplistic, but they've been that consistent team. So everyone's got a tough matchup against Denver.
I have yet to hear the commissioner get up to the podium and go, "Congratulations, barely NBA champions." I've never heard that. That has not happened, and I don't think that's going to happen in my lifetime. So, how you win? How you win?
I think it happened in the bubble. No.
Yeah, no. He even in the bubble, even in the bubble when they handed over the trophy, he did not say, "Congratulations, Los Angeles Lakers, 1920, barely NBA champions." No.
Yeah.
That's funny. So listen. Speaking of the matchups, can I go on a rant?
Yes, oh boy, absolutely.
I've been thinking a lot about this, and I'm going to give you an NFL example and then tell you about the NBA. I don't like the way that it's very much NCAA tournament style, and I don't know that I like it. So let me explain. In the NFL right now, so it's changed because they've added a team, but it's still it remains. This has always been the same. Be 2 teams that had a bye. Now it's only 1. So in the NFL, the first team in each conference, so in the AFC, NFC, the first team gets a bye, the first week bye, and they have a wild card weekend. The 2nd seed plays the 7th seed, the 3rd seed plays the 6th seed, and the 4 seed plays the 5 seed.
Right.
Now, what you're expecting is the 2 seed and the 3 seed and the 4 seed to win, and then you would have a matchup of the 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. Pretty standard, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Should the 7th seed somehow upset the 2 seed, in round 2, they reseed who plays who. So the 1 wouldn't play the 4.
They play the lowest seed.
Let's assume the 7, the 3, and the 4 one. The 1 would play the 7, and the 3 would play the 4. And what that does is it says, hey, the regular season means something. Winning games means something. Getting your seeding in the regular seeding means something. And I'm looking at these matchups, and it's not to say that the playoffs haven't been entertaining and haven't been great, but I'm looking at a situation where, the 8 seed wins, the 2 and the 3 seed win, and the 5 seed wins, let's say in the East. Let's use that as the first example.
Right.
So where we are today is the 8 seed plays the 5 seed. So we're going to have an 8 or a 5 in the East Finals, Conference Finals, where the 3 are playing each other.
Yep.
Now, had this been the NFL or the NFL rules, the 2 would play the 8 and the 3 would play the 5, and you could get that 2-3 matchup
in the conference finals,
which would tell me the regular season means something. In the West, the 1 seed won, the 7 seed won, the 6 seed won, and I want to say the 4 seed won. And you got 4 playing 6, 1 playing 7. So that one actually ended up is the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
That one's okay. But I'm struggling in the East with the 2 playing the 3 and the 8 playing the 5. Am I nuts? And it's okay. You can say I'm nuts. I keep seeing, and I'm like, maybe I've watched too much football. I don't know.
No, I do think that you already know how I feel about the regular season. The regular season absolutely matters, and the way that the seeding is, where if I got the number 2 seed and they bounce the number 7 seed, I do think that the number 1 seed should get the lower seed, 100%. I don't think that the number 1 seed should have to play the 3 seed in the second round. There's no way that the number 7 seed should get the benefit of having to play the 5. There's a reason why you were the 7 seed. There's a reason why you stood where you stood. So you shouldn't get the benefit of having to play a lower seed and have a less difficult road as opposed to the number 1 seed who, there's a reason why we're the number 1 seed. It's not to say that we shouldn't have a less difficult role, but we earn the right to be the number 1 seed. That doesn't mean we ducking anybody, but we shouldn't have to play them.
No,
I played 82 games.
We're the number 1 seed.
As the team as Denver, again, it's not so much in the West, but as Denver, who had the best record for 82 games, I earned the easiest road to the finals. That's what I earned. And when you add in, and you know how I feel about the play-in, when you add in a play-in that allows 10 teams now, to have that ability to get into the playoffs, I feel like we're diminishing more and more and more what the regular season means. So I'm like, and maybe that's what got me thinking about it, is that I feel like we should make and we were talking about this, remember, what are things that we could do to make the regular season worth more again? Well, I like the 65 games to get the awards.
I love that.
65 games to get.
Yeah. I love that.
And I think this would be part 2 of that. And let me be clear, the NFL isn't perfect. The fact that a 7-9 team can win their division and host a playoff game boggles my mind, but that's a conversation for another day. But it's not that it's perfect, but I feel like the reseeding, I kind of think makes sense.
Yeah. You want to give an incentive to work hard, and especially in this day and age where we're seeing so many things seemingly go downhill as far as like motivation and players trying, and we just see a lot of guys, well, the rest obviously. So giving them incentive to work hard and have advantages when they do work hard, like I think that would be a great thing to switch up.
I'm a big fan of the 65 games, and the reason why I'm a big fan of it is because you're gonna start seeing guys. If you don't play, you're gonna start seeing guys like Jalen Brunson make All NBA. You're gonna start seeing guys like Jason Collins making All NBA. You're gonna see guys like Anthony Edwards, who I think is an elite player, but he's gonna be a first team All NBA performer because he played 75 games, and you only were able to hold up for 60. So we're going to see stuff like that. And then we're going to see these stars, quote unquote. We're going to see these superstars who are going to look at these guys and go, I'm better than him. I'm better than him. The only reason why he made the crew and I didn't, because he played more games than me. Well, guess what?
We're going to see a year or 2 of that. And everyone's going to complain about it. And they'll just say, well, play more games. And
there it is. There it is. That's how you get to the bottom of that. Come to work.
Boston,
Come to work.
Boston. I was about to tell you 83-81. Boston back-to-back is up now 87-83.
2 threes from Jason Tatum. 2 of them. Not happening. 1. 2 of them. 2 of them.
You finally figured out how to play basketball again? Like what?
2 of them.
He heard us.
I'll get involved. Don't worry. Just stick with me. What I remember when I think about guys having bad performances, I think back to the all-time greats, and I think back to the all-time greats all having performances where they were terrible in the playoffs, and people had basically written them off. Prime example would be the Boston Celtics. In 1982, they came back from a 3-1 lead and lost to the Philadelphia 76ers in the East Finals. The very next year, they play against Milwaukee in 83 in the semifinals, which we're going backwards now. They get mopped out of the playoffs in 4 games, swept out of the playoffs. everybody is like, yo, what is going on with the Boston Celtics? If that happened today, we got to blow this unit up. No more Bird, no more Kevin McHale, no more Robert Parrish. That team is completely dismantled. But instead, what do? We clearly got the formula. All we have to do is get the right chef in the kitchen. So they get rid of the coach and they get in Casey Jones. Well, they end up going to the finals 3 of the next 4 years. I'm sorry, for the next 4 years straight. So I don't want to jump out the window on the logic that when a guy is bad early, that all of a sudden, let's just write this guy off. Because I've seen it way too many times. I've seen guys turn it around.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I think that you have to be patient with it, and the league now is not a patient league. It's a league that has high turnover with coaches, players. Like, things are always changing. So,
well, we talked.
Yeah, but
we
there's
talked
also
about this earlier, Hailey. I know you weren't on the panel, but
yeah,
I'll ask you the question. Jay, don't answer because you know the answer. Do you know how many coaches are still coaching the same team since the 2018-19 season? So not that long ago.
18-19 H, that's, let's see, 18-19, 19-20, 20-21, 21-22, 22-23. So that's 5 seasons.
Man, there's probably a handful, maybe 10. Not even. Is it less than 10?
What's your guess?
I'm gonna say 10.
4.
I was gonna say 7 or something. Yeah, wow,
4.
Wait,
4.
so it's Steve Kerr.
Man,
Who's even who are they?
Steve, are you not going to keep guessing? Okay, yeah.
I mean,
Steve Kerr, Pop,
yeah.
I'm going to forget them now.
I know. I'm trying to think.
Mike Malone,
Denver, and then Monty.
No,
Monty was probably 2019.
No, it's Kerr, Pop, Malone. Who was the 4th one? Do you remember? No, I forgot.
Is it? It's Spo.
Oh yeah, Spo. Yeah,
and Spo.
Yes.
Wow.
There you go. That's it. 4 out of 30.
4. That's actually a wild stat.
And that's just, we're going 5 years back. So talk about like how little like time you have to get things turned around with free agency and all the stuff that player turnover, player movement. Like we've never seen players move from team to team more than we have, and you have to get a team up and running in like 5 seconds or you're out. Like there's no time. I think it's crazy, and that's why it's nuts. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no. That's what I was going to ask, actually, because I saw on Twitter that Joe Tsai, I don't know what you guys can share your thoughts on him as a GM for Brooklyn, but he came out and said that basketball players are very difficult to manage. And I was just wondering, to me, the message that, I mean, obviously, but to put that message out of this guy, of the guys that you're supposed to be like over.
I'm sorry, H. I'm a little wrapped up. That's not a foul. They challenged that. We going the other way on Al Horford. That is not a foul. It was all ball on James Harden. But keep going, H. Keep going. We had a commercial break. That was awesome. That was not a foul. We're going the other way. We're gonna get a jump ball and we're going the other way. But you were talking about basketball players being hard to manage. Keep going.
Celtics are gonna win this, aren't they? They're coming back. I'm so
mad.
Believe
it. I can't believe it.
No, but yeah, Joe Tsai, thoughts on saying that about like the organ, like your guys basically that you're over. And Jay, both of you probably know like the inside too of like obviously they're athletes and there's a group of guys that you have to manage with different personalities, different thought processes, but you have to try to get them all to kind of gel and be a cohesive unit.
I blame today's parents, and the reason why, I'm going to read you this quote.
Okay.
I'll show it to you first, and then I'll read it to you. Uncoachable kids become unemployable adults. Let your kids get used to someone being tough on them. It's life. And I think the problem starts with the fact that we don't allow our kids to have coaches and teachers and whatever. I'm not saying abuse them. I'm not saying that. But be tough on them. Hold them accountable for their actions. Yeah. And because we don't do that we have guys like, let's be honest, Ja Morant running around acting a fool, right? With no accountability.
Yeah.
You know, like dude went to one therapy session. He's like, no, I'm good now. No, you're not. You're not good.
No, you're not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And look, I'm not saying they're all bad. I'm not saying that at all.
No.
But like, we had a great conversation with Mrs. or Dr. Michelle Carter and Dr. Lucille O'Neal, the mothers of Vince Carter and Shaquille O'Neal, right? On Tuesday. Go check it out. It's a Mother Day special. It's right here on YouTube. Go watch it. It's a great listen. And what was the one thing that came through over and over and over again? Discipline, right? Like Dr. Carter was like, I saw his body language on the court and his minutes were going down, and I wanted to check in to see what was happening at school. And I went and made an appointment with Coach Dean Smith and found out what the heck was going on.
Yes, something's going on here. He's not okay.
Yeah.
Something's definitely wrong. Well, you also got to remember too, Tone, that we're talking about, and you can attest to this because you're also a basketball player. We're a little bit complex. That's number one.
Absolutely.
Number two, and if you add in millions of dollars and you add in younger guys, we're pretty difficult to manage. Because I'm trying to imagine me.
I've said this to you before. Thank goodness I wasn't that good. Because if you threw a bunch of millions of dollars on top of my ego, I would have been. I was already unbearable.
I couldn't imagine.
Forget it.
I couldn't imagine me as the starting two guard at 20 years old for the Los Angeles Lakers. You wouldn't have been. You couldn't tell me nothing at 20 years old anyway. But now I'm a starting two guard for the Knicks at 20 years old. You couldn't tell me nothing. There's no way. I would have crashed my car. I would have crashed my car. I would have done something wild. I think we're in a time now where these guys are making so much money, and when you're making more money than the people who are supposed to be managing you, there's really not much you could tell me. I mean, Tone, you already brought it up when you talk about LeBron James makes more than the boss. The person that's writing the checks, he actually makes more than her. So how can you really manage me? How can you really tell me anything when I could actually own this team? To be honest with you, instead of you, my name could be at the bottom of the check. So how could you really tell me anything? Now, there are some people who are level-headed. There are some ball players, both football, basketball. There are some guys who are level-headed. But when you get to this level where you're making this kind of money, and not only are you making this kind of money, you have this kind of notoriety, and you have these many people around you that are telling you the same thing over and over again, which is you are the man, you are this, you are that. It's difficult for an organization to manage you because you're basically living in a fantasy world. Like, this isn't real life.
Can I just say, shame on you, 76ers. Shame on you, 76ers.
Can't believe it.
To allow Jason Tatum to stink up the joint and for you to allow him to hit those 2 threes and basically steal this game from y'all. Like, you should be ashamed of yourself. So let me ask the question. Do those clutch shots change he sucks for Jason Tatum? Because that's what you said when we started the show. He sucks.
Yeah. It doesn't change. Well, no. It doesn't change anything.
He
just because he turned it on in the fourth quarter does not, because there's a level of consistency that you have to have. I can't be garbage all the way up to the fourth quarter and then I go for 15 in the fourth and we win the game and everything's back to normal. I don't know.
We play games to 30 on Friday nights, and like I don't think I made a shot, but last play of the game I took a steal and I took it coast to coast and made the game winning shot, and I got beers bought for me. So
no.
Doesn't the last shot matter?
And there's still people, even though you got a beer bought for you, Tone, there's still people that's saying, Tone, you suck tonight, just so you know. But you did save us. You still suck tonight.
But I definitely think it helps the fact that when pressure, arose and it was it's do or die, and he stepped up. Like, that does, I mean, it's good. You're not out yet. You could have been done tonight, eliminated. It's really sad to see that the Sixers are caving right now.
They're up 11, so I'm calling it.
Game's over.
Yeah, it's done. It's done.
Game's over. Jason Tatum 16.
Celtics to the Eastern Conference Finals, I guess.
No, this series ain't over. They got to go back home for Game 7.
Trust me. Yeah. I think that this was it.
I'm getting heckled. I'm getting heckled on my phone.
Why?
Miss Fluent, because she picked the Celtics. She's like, you 76ers suck.
Miss Fluent, how are you, dear?
Your MVP and Harden gave up. Oh
Wow.
man, now I can't hear the end of it. All right, let's go to some super chats. Damn you! Why do I believe in the 76ers? Shame on me.
I'm not gonna lie though, I'm excited for Game 7. Let's go.
Yeah, here we go.
Doe, they said he's better than Luka, two-way player.
He's referring to Tatum,
right?
Yeah. And is Tatum a better? Is Tatum? Well,
I still don't think it's that far off. I do not think it's that far off. I think the consistency is where the divide is, and I think the experience is where the divide is. I don't think it's that far off. No, I don't.
No, I would agree. Yeah.
It's not like this. No.
Yeah. Luka's not leagues better. But
I'm listen. If I'm starting a team, I'm still picking Luka. But as a two-way player, yeah, okay, I can see that.
Yeah. Stay shifty. Thank you for your super chat. Watching you guys at work every day. Thanks for getting me through the days. Who are some of the players you guys tried to emulate growing up?
I was a big Jordan and Joe Dumars fan. I loved them dudes. And Dominique Wilkins. Those are the three guys that I absolutely adored. Their games were fantastic.
So emulate. So play like. So at first it was Magic because Magic was my guy, and then I realized that wasn't like the niche that I could carve out. So it was like more like Dale Ellis was more of the that's the role I could play and be successful.
Melo Williams, can't believe I heard KD is a better defender than Giannis. Who said that? Is this on the panel?
It's Dell. Dale's delusional.
Dell is delusional when it comes to
delusional.
KD. KD's a better defender than Giannis.
It's not that it wasn't that KD is a better defender than Giannis. I don't see Giannis as this all-world defender. I just don't see it.
No.
Isn't he always in the
I'm thinking to myself.
No. I wrote it down right here.
What did he say? So I'm clear.
KD is a better
on-ball defender. He did say that. Yes, he did say that. Tom.
Oh yeah, don't look at that.
Yes, he did say that. He did say that. Give me the stats to show that Giannis is so much of a better defender.
But I don't understand
than KD because I don't see it.
He only uses eye tests.
Right.
He only uses eye tests.
That's true in general, and I get it. That's his boy, but that is not even a conversation to be had.
The gap between KD's offense and Giannis's offense isn't as big as the gap between Giannis's defense and KD's defense. Like
it's not. Yo.
I'm telling you, we're gonna look. I'm telling you. No one believes me today.
I couldn't believe you said that.
I'm telling you today. KD is not a superstar. I'm telling you today. In 20 years from now, he is going to be looked upon as the biggest fraud that anyone's going to have in their top 20 all-time list. KD? It's going to be KD.
I'm not going to say fraud, Tone. I'm not going to go that far. No.
I'm not saying you will. I'm not saying I am. I'm saying in 20 years from now, when they look at that top 20, KD's name is going to be there, and people will be like, that's the biggest fraud, because let's be honest. What he did in OKC with the teammates he had was underachieved. He made one NBA final. Yeah, he won. What, he won an MVP? Cool. He made one NBA final when they were young, and then he goes to Golden State. That's going to looked at as a negative. Right. It's going to be looked at. He goes to Brooklyn. That's a failure.
That's where it gets tricky for me. That's where it gets tricky for me right there, because there's no reason for him to go there. None.
Yeah, he goes to Brooklyn
and the Suns. Like that, I don't like.
But the Suns. And let's be honest. Are we expecting the Suns to come back and beat Denver? No. Maybe, but let's assume
Which
no.
I said people didn't believe me, but I said.
Well, then in the offseason, we're already talking about Ayton wants out. CP3's is going to retire, right? Let's be honest. So now we got KD and Book and no money. Yeah. What do we do? Actually, Book. Oh no, CP3's still on the books, so he's going to get paid like $60 million to be sitting in a wheelchair. Yeah. So it's not like they're going to get better in the next 2 or 3 years. So I don't see, and KD's not getting any younger, so that's his legacy. So again, in the moment with the eye test, we're going to say, hey, he's phenomenal. Like, you watch him play. Like, listen, you can't watch Kevin Durant play and not be like, wow. You have to. He is wow. But when we, like I said, in 20 years from now, when we start overanalyzing like we do, dude, he is not going to pass the sniff test. I'm telling you. You know exactly what I mean.
I know exactly what you're saying, Toad. It's not. It's going to be bad. So I'm like, nope.
It's going to be bad.
Nope.
Nope.
That ain't right. I'm out.
Nope. About that.
I get that. I don't know if I would go as far as to say like I guess when it comes to like that, like the next generation and us later in time looking at that top 20, then sure, it's just hard to believe because I don't want everyone. I love KD. Like we're honored to get to watch a man like him play and like what he does on a daily basis. But it's the path he chose after a certain point that just like is frustrating for me sometimes. But I owe a lot. I as a Golden State fan, like we could have probably not done what we did without him. So I'm so thankful.
I think you're too hard on yourself. I think you're too hard on yourselves because Golden State, everyone's like, Draymond said it and this person said it. If KD doesn't go there, LeBron beats the Warriors over and over again. And I'm like, well, hold on a minute. We'll pump the brakes a minute. This was a team that had those guys up or down 3-1. So it's not like they were that far off. Now, they didn't play well. LeBron and Kyrie played exceptionally well and came back and won. I'm not putting it on one player because it was more than one player. They played exceptionally well. Right. They come back. So a combination of the Warriors playing poorly because let's be honest, they were cocky. They were cocky. Yeah. They were like, hey, we beat these guys. Right? Yeah. Then LeBron and Kyrie play exceptionally well and they beat them. So in 7.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not KD, but okay, so they make a tweak. Like you said, right, about these other players. They had the formula. They won an NBA. They won a championship. They went to Game 7. So if they make a tweak, are they not back in the NBA Finals? You're damn right they are. Do they not? Now, maybe they don't win. What do they win? 2 in a row? They win 2 in a row after that. Mm-hmm. So maybe they go 1-1.
Right.
Okay.
Now, I love that logic, Tone, but here's the problem. We got to talk about the climate that we're in. So number one, we got to talk about the psychological advantage that you have on a team when you have them down 3-1 and you come back and you beat them. That's number one. Especially a team like the Golden State Warriors.
Now, is that the mental climate or is that motivation to be like, we let him off the hook? We had him and we let him off the hook.
And that's what it should be. Okay. That's what it should be, only except it's not in this particular situation. Why? Because of what they saw with LeBron James as basically the best player on the planet. And Steph Curry said he had never seen two guys play, both him and Kyrie Irving, at the level that they played at. So we already have a psychological advantage. So in the process of us having a psychological advantage, you guys coming back to see us with the same group, because there's no reason for me to think that the Cleveland Cavaliers wouldn't be back in the finals again the next year. So they're back in the finals the next year. They're already looking at Golden State like there is nothing insurmountable with us against them. We could beat these guys on any level. If we get down in the series, if we get up in the series, Tony, I think they smoked them that next year in 5 games. And once again, we're talking about the climate that we live in. And the climate that we live in, you're a 73-9 team that blows a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals, and then the next year against that same team.
How did I redo that next year?
I think he averaged almost 30 a game.
When they lost?
Yes. Yeah, I think he averaged 29 a game in those finals.
Does he miraculously enjoy playing with LeBron James, or does he still leave?
To be honest with you, Tone, if they went once again, I think that they smoked them. And again, the climate that we live in, one, you were a 73-9 team that gave up a 3-1 lead. The next year, this same team smokes you in 5 games. We can't keep this unit together. We're not close.
But again,
we're not. We can't keep this unit together.
But I don't think again, where it's a lot of
hypothetical, sure.
Hypotheticals, but I don't think they come back with the same team. Like I said, I think they say, hey, we blew a 3-1 lead. Again, it's not KD, but they make a tweak. They make a change already. And I think that change, who knows what it is, but I think that either keeps them competitive or puts them
it might push them over the top. Here's the problem with that though, Tone.
And then what happens? Well, does Kyrie all of a sudden become, a mentally stable guy? No, he still probably goes, I hate this, and I leave. And I'm glad you brought that part up, Tone. And the reason why I'm glad you brought that part up is because what was the main reason why OJ got off? OJ got off because he was the only suspect. They didn't look for anybody else. He was the guy. So in the process of them looking for him, they didn't have anybody else. He did it.
That is true. He did do it. The point that I'm making is they went after KD. They didn't go after anybody else. KD was their guy in the offseason.
Yeah, but
they didn't look for
KD
anybody else.
If KD says I'm staying and resigns,
right?
Go find someone else.
But even with that being said, they still looking at Oklahoma City. If they don't get KD, we still better than them. Even with the current crew that we have,
they're
with
building,
Russell Westbrook
for the Cavs. I think they're building for
with Russell Westbrook.
We need a defender to slow down Kyrie. Right, you're not going to find someone to slow down LeBron. We're going to find some perimeter defender. So they bring in I don't know who. And I'm just saying it could have. All I'm saying is much easier with KD because he's a top 3 player in the game at that time. So clearly easier. But I'm just saying he's not the only way they get over the hump.
No, he's not. He is.
I agree.
But with him getting on that crew, he makes them significantly better. As good as they already were.
Of course.
He makes them significantly better. And you can't
add a top 1, 2, 3. Let's say top 3. Higher than that. But you can't add a top 3 player to a team that won 73 games and they're not, clearly. And it's not that I don't like, because the conversation that we were having earlier, H, was how Dell wants KD to be criticized, like a whole that same energy. Now, we talked about it. We talked about this with Dell. I love KD. I just don't love him as much as you do. That's all.
I don't think anyone does.
I just don't see him like you do. I think KD is fantastic.
And let me be clear. I look at KD realistically, because everyone's gonna say, "Oh, you hate," and even when I say I don't hate him, they're gonna say I hate him. I love watching KD play. I've said multiple times, phenomenal, like one of the best I've ever been able to actually watch play. But I'm just saying, I know how his legacy will age, and it's not good. It's not good because of these things. That's all.
I think that's a good point. Like we especially you guys, like you've been around longer than I have, obviously. So you already know how these things are going to age as different generations. Like take a look at everything, and then more players come into the league. We see more talent. Like things change. So I agree.
Just look at the way they talk about the guys from 20 years ago.
Exactly.
Still the 2000s, and they talk about them like they were in black and white, wearing Chuck Taylors. Like it's ridiculous. All right. We got more.
Okay. Omar Hanson. Derrick White is not showing all NBA defense.
He shouldn't have been on the team.
No, he shouldn't have. But
that was real tricky. Real tricky.
Did you disagree, Jay? Did you think he should have been or what?
I was trying to figure out why is Mikal Bridges not an all-league defender?
Right.
100% Mikal Bridges is an all-league defender. Why is Jaden McDaniels not an all-league defender? Why is Herb Jones not an all-league defender?
That one was crazy.
I had a difficult time with Alex Caruso and the logic that I was given, which Mars did make some sense. Mars did make some sense in the impact that Alex Caruso had as a defender. And my counter to that was the fact that he only barely played half the games. And some people had brought to my attention that Tony Allen was playing a little bit of minutes. Right. So for every Alex Caruso, this is what I'm talking about when I talk about anomalies, Tone. When I talk about a guy like Luka and Shea making the All-NBA first team, when I talk about Russell Westbrook and Joker on a 6th seed being the league MVP, these things are anomalies because every time a guy like Tony Allen, who doesn't play a lot of minutes and is an all-league defender, there's Jordan, who's playing 35 minutes. There's Joe Dumars, who's playing 35 minutes. There's Kobe Bryant. There's John Stockton. There's Gary Payton. There's Jason Kidd. There's all of these other guys who are playing heavy minutes. And the reason why they're playing heavy minutes is because they're needed more. See, you're more of a situational defender when you're only playing 22, 23 minutes a game.
And let me be clear. My only issue with Alex Caruso, because he is a great defender,
100%, maybe the best on-ball defender in the game. Maybe you can make an argument.
I just think if you're second team, how do you make first team when you're a second team player? That's all. And here's my thing: when you got two guys, and let's not assume Caruso's this much better than anybody else. Like there's other guards that are this close. So the Penn here is playing 35 minutes a game, and Caruso's playing 23. Well, when I go to vote for all defense. Like the guy
doesn't make sense.
The person that plays more minutes, like it's. I hate to say this because we're kind of part of this now, but like it's like the media's never played a sport. Like it's harder to be a good defender for 35 minutes than it is for 20 minutes.
Very difficult.
On the panel today, just think about it. If he's playing 23 minutes a game, half of that time Half
on offense.
On offense.
Yeah.
And imagine how that makes like the message that paints for these guys that are. I don't know. I just
No, H, keep going. You on the right track. H, don't worry. We're on the freeway and you're going. Don't worry about the exit. You're on the right way. Keep going, H. Don't stop. Keep going.
Yeah,
keep going, H.
No, just how it paints the picture for these other guys that are obviously working a little bit harder. Not to say that Alex wouldn't do that if the opportunity wasn't presented to him. I think he would, but it wasn't.
Why isn't he playing more minutes?
I mean,
there's something in his game, because if he could play 35 minutes, they're going to play him 35 minutes.
And it ain't like Chicago is loaded with on ball.
That's what I was thinking. I was going to say, there's not better defenders.
Who they got? Cody White,
right?
Who are the other guards? Like,
right?
Yeah, it's not like they're heavy.
I love DeMar. If DeMar DeRozan's a guard, okay, DeMar, but he's not a defensive stopper. It sounds like I'm knocking Caruso, and I'm not. I'm just saying
not at all.
I would have rather had him been on the second team just because of the minutes. And I would say that for any player. Just like I've said, any player that plays under 45 games shouldn't even be on anything team. He didn't play enough. No. All right, sports PSP.
Okay, who's the most underrated player in the NBA?
I'm a big Herb Jones fan. I don't
especially now he's truly underrated. Yeah, and now we have the receipts.
I don't think people talk about Herb Jones nearly as much as they should. I've said this in the past, Tone. He gives me Bruce Bowen vibes. I think he's a starter on a championship team, and I think that we're gonna have a serious conversation about him being the defensive player of the year at some point. We are.
Mine is also a Pelican, Brandon Ingram. He's been mine for the last season. I'd also say Kevon Looney as well. I think he doesn't get a lot of credit for what he does, especially this postseason. We're seeing him start to kind of eclipse in his career after all the injuries. He's healing. He's finding his groove. And I think he's one of the most underrated bigs.
H, is it fair that, like you just mentioned, Looney, isn't that fair for all dirty work guys? Like, they don't get nearly as much attention and praise as they should.
Absolutely. I love defensive players. That's like my favorite. Besides like Steph's shooting threes. I'm not like, that doesn't attract me. I love good hardcore defensive players. Like I don't love Marcus Smart the most, but I can appreciate his defensive mindedness. Herb, like that's so I love that. And so I think that especially those guys, like if you don't win defensive player of the year or all defensive team, like you're overlooked. You're not dropping 30 points, so you're not going to be in a highlight reel unless it's like an insane stop or there's drama, that a fight that comes up after. But I think that's one of the most overlooked things. So those dirty work guys definitely deserve more credit. So that's our job to point them out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, considering he didn't make all NBA or all defensive team, and he is one of the best offensive and defensive players in the league, apparently we're underrating Anthony Davis.
Not you, Tone. No, I can tell you who not underrating him. You not, because you wanted him gone. I remember that. You wanted him traded. Yes, you did.
Absolutely.
You wanted him gone.
I think we could have got a
He's a top 5 player in the league when he's healthy. It's just that he's not healthy. There's no underrating him.
Another one of because you guys picked the dirty work guys, and I think that's easy because I think all the dirty work guys are underrated. I think a guy like Pascal Siakam is underrated. I think who else? If it wasn't for him making all NBA first team all season long, I was saying SGA was underrated. They gave him his flowers now.
He's so good.
All those dirty work guys, all those Bobby Portises and PJ Tuckers, and we never talk about them unless they do something wrong. But let's be honest, those are the guys that like get you championships, right? We're only going to talk about like whoever wins this year. Pick any team. We're only going to talk about the star and maybe the second person. But it's that 7. It's that 5, 6, 7, 8 person on the team. They're actually the reason you won because they did something, because you had a bad game or you were struggling in a certain quarter or the ball just bounced in the wrong direction and they put their body on the line and dove out into the crowd to save it. Like, those are the guys that actually make, when we call it luck, those are the, what a lucky bounce. Nah, dude, that was PJ Tucker, putting his life on the line to tip out an offensive rebound back to you so you could hit that game-winning 3. That was him. So
Coach
together.
Coach K from Duke calls those guys the guys at the bottom of the ship throwing a coal in the fire. That's who he calls those guys.
Right.
Keeping it
captain's up top saluting, getting all the love, but those are the guys making the boat go. Yes.
This boat ain't going nowhere without them. We're going nowhere without these guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Those guys, Oof. Okay, Mavs fan 772. Luka has more first team selections than AI, Russell, Nash, Kawhi, DWade, Westbrook, and tied with Curry and Dirk. Crazy, only 24
Wow.
years old. 4 out of 5 years. Wow.
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Mhm.
Are they? Wow.
That's
Do you think?
impressive.
Yeah.
So Allen Iverson is running around during the time where it's a very guard heavy league. Russell Westbrook, he's also running around with Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, Chris Paul. Also, Steve Nash is also in that same timeline with both Allen Iverson, Jason Kidd. John Stockton was already over, but Baron Davis, he was running around with guys like that, Gilbert Arenas. So that was serious. Kawhi Leonard was beat up. So Kawhi Leonard was riddled with injuries.
How many years? Can I pause on Kawhi? How many years did Kawhi actually play as an all NBA first teamer? Because the first 5 years of his career, no.
Well, I'm not gonna say when he showed up, Tone. He showed up in 2011. So they went to the NBA championship in 2013, and he was a pup. They ended up winning it in 2014. He's still a pup, but 2014-15, he wins the defensive player of the year. He's starting to become elite. So we're around year 4, year 5, and he wins the defensive player of the year again in 15-16. I think maybe 4 years. I think we got 4 elite seasons out of him because, like I said, 17-18 he didn't play because he got hurt. The 16-17 he was elite. 15-16 he was elite. 14-15 he was becoming elite. 18-19 he was elite. I mean, he was in Toronto. 19-20 he was elite. 20-21 he got hurt. 21-22 he didn't play the whole season because of the knee injury. So in 12 years we're looking at what? 6 years of elite.
We got robbed of Kawhi.
We did. Yeah. We definitely did.
He could have been.
Oh. Yeah.
No, not could have been. He was special, but I think we got robbed by him. Yeah. Or robbed of him, excuse me, not by him.
Yeah. Rolo 555. Chill. You ever played the game Shaq Fu?
Never did. No, I didn't. I was. That? It's a video game. I never.
I'm guessing it's a video game, but
what? Yeah. I never really got. Well, Shaq. If you remember, Shaq Fu, he got that name from being with the Fushnikins.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, we all got nothing to do.
Yeah, he was in a video game, and no, I never played it.
Oh, that's kind of. Did you see his new rap video where he's driving?
Which is dope. It's dope too. I like it.
Yeah. Were you in the background, Jay? Were you on set?
You should probably tell him he's a little too old for rapping.
Never too old. Angie Carr, chill. I know I sound like a dead horse, but even NBA players are saying it. Barnes wondering why Thibs ain't playing Rose. He's on the team for a reason. He ain't a bum and he has playoff. Ooh, do you think that? Because I've watched him play and he does not look good. But is that because he's not getting minutes?
Well, I don't think it's not because he's not getting minutes. I mean,
he looks bad.
What are we looking at? What are we looking at with this guy, Angie? I mean, we're talking about a guy in Derrick Rose. He's been in the league 14 years now. 15. This is year 15 that he's in the league. If he could help Tibbs would have him on the floor. I don't think that this is a situation where Tibbs is trying to protect him. If he could help that rotation, he would definitely have him on the floor, 100%.
Well, wasn't he requesting at the buyout market? Wasn't there like rumors that he was looking to like move off New York?
He
said
that he still has something left. He said he still has something left. I'm thinking
because he'll play like the final 5 minutes of like blowouts, and I'm just watching, and I love him so. Like you want to see something different, but it's not good. It's not good. When I watch him, he just doesn't look like a whole player. He doesn't look whole, and it's so sad. But yeah, Dorian Clayton, what's the way that Tot is playing? Do you think that the Celtics organization will look up to invest more in JB and Tatum? My bad.
With the way Tatum is playing.
Yeah.
Do you think the Celtics organization will look to invest more in JB?
Nope.
No, I don't think that they look to invest more in JB, but I also don't think that they are moving off of these guys. I mean, I don't think they're gonna offer him the Supermax, but it's gonna be hard for him to leave any of that money on the table.
I feel that the Celtics are going to look at those two guys and they're going to make a decision. And I'm not saying, and it's probably the right one. And they're going to decide we want Tatum.
We're gonna pick one.
I think so too.
And then they're going to say, okay, what do we need to surround Tatum with?
Yep.
Right.
And how do we get that? By signing and trading away Jaylen Brown. And I don't think that's the right move, but I think that is what we're going to see.
Which I asked Tone earlier today because I got this put on my mind. H, I'm calling you up. You are Warriors executive. I'm calling you up. I'll hand over Jaylen Brown, hand over Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole. Yes or no?
I might.
In a heartbeat. What are you talking about?
I just love Wiggins so much. Like, you don't know. Maple Jordan is.
The Celtics wouldn't do that.
The Warriors would do that today.
When Wiggins is on, though, he's like almost.
Today.
He's like, you're under. No, you don't know, Fluent. You don't know.
You don't know that he would already be in Boston by the time we finish.
They would send the plane. Like, they would send their plane to Boston to get him before y'all change your mind.
With champagne and everything.
They would get.
I would say more realistic, and I know they don't want to probably trade within their kind of whatever, but
yeah.
Jaylen Brown to the Knicks for Julius Randle and RJ Barrett.
Would you give up JB for that?
I wouldn't. I'm just saying that's more of a realistic haul. Like
yeah.
Or listen, because the Celtics aren't the type to make like crazy, like people will you're going to hear Jaylen Brown for Zion. They're not going to take a chance like that. They're going to want right now. They're going to look for
assurances.
Either a really, really good like quality big and a guard to go along Tatum. Like again, I don't think they get this, but they're going to be like, hey, what if we give you like, and Minnesota wouldn't do this. What if we give you JB and a first for KAT and Edwards? Right. Again, I'm not, but that's the kind of thing I think they're going to try to get back. Maybe it's not that. No. Listen, if I'm Boston and someone's offering me KAT and Ant for JB, I'm probably doing that. But I don't think Minnesota does that. But that's the kind of haul I think they're going to try and get.
Yeah. Oof.
But hey, let them get knocked out of the playoffs first, and then we'll worry about who they trade.
Yeah. People boy, chill. I'll buy you a Luka jersey if you throw away your Tatum jersey. You have a Tatum jersey?
I do not, but I'm getting one.
He's got a Celtics. You had a Celtics one, maybe.
No,
yeah, you were wearing something. Yes, you were.
It was Blazers.
I was wearing a Clippers jersey. I had a green shirt on. I was wearing a Clippers jersey.
Yeah.
Okay. You can buy me a Luka jersey. I'll take it. Double XL.
Yeah, I'll take one. I'm but not a Tatum.
Yeah.
No. All right.
You're gonna get on board, H. You are going to get on board, H.
How does my son have a Tatum jersey? How does Fluent Jr. have a Tatum Luka jersey before me? Come on, man.
There's something about his game that bothers me.
You're gonna get on board, H. You are. I felt the same way about Curry. I felt the same way about him, and then eventually I had to get on the bus. I had to get on. I'm like, yo, this dude is nice. Knock it off.
It's possible. I had to. It's possible. I might wake up to it. I was starting to wake up to it like last offseason. I was like, okay, this is a season I'm gonna truly watch this game, no bias, and then he's played the same way. So okay, Anchikar, if Reddick gets a gig before Mark, NBA will love it.
That's not happening.
Neither one of them is getting a job.
No, that's not happening.
Neither one of them is getting a job.
Stop. That is not happening. No, Angie. No way.
Why did they even start those that media
they listen. Masai had a conversation. He's doing his job. He's doing his due diligence, and he's speaking with every possible candidate. And someone, trust me, Masai didn't say I want to talk to JJ because that's not the kind of coach he's looking for. JJ probably didn't say, hey, I want to coach. Someone in the middle said, hey, you two should talk and put that meeting together, and it happened. And of course, loose lips sink ships. And they had, and Masai is the type that he will have that conversation and hear him out and hear the ideas and Like I'm not surprised they had a conversation, but he's not getting hired. And unfortunately, neither is Mark Jackson.
As a Toronto guy, who do you think? Like, do you have any inner source, or if you could guess, do you have any thoughts on who it'll be?
The name that keeps popping up. Now it was Udoka at first. And then kind of the person that jumped to the head of the class was Patrick Mutombo, who is an assistant on Phoenix. And then when Bud got fired, Bud's name popped to the top of the list because when they hired Nick Nurse, the only reason they hired Nick Nurse or promoted Nick Nurse from assistant after they fired Dwayne Casey was because Bud took the job in Milwaukee. So they were battling for his services. Milwaukee, he chose Milwaukee. They promoted Nick Nurse. So I think he's like, hey, that guy got away, even though I don't think he's the right coach for this team. So those are the names that keep popping up. They've allowed one of their assistants, who I thought was also a candidate, Adrian Griffin, to speak to other teams. So they're listen, I don't think you're going to hear, hopefully before the draft, something gets done, because you want that coach in place, get his assistants in place or her assistants in place, and get going.
When's the draft, by the way?
I think the 23rd.
23rd.
Yeah, I think the 23rd of June, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
It's usually the last Wednesday. It's usually the last Wednesday of June.
Okay. I'm excited. Whew. Okay, Angie, has there ever been a second round all game sevens? Good question.
I can't say that I remember it being.
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no too. I can't remember.
I don't think there's gonna be one this time either, though. Sadly,
I don't think so neither.
Yeah.
Even though that's what the NBA would love. The NBA would love. They would love
that, but it's not
every round, every series to be something.
Yeah.
It's great for business. Great for business.
Okay, Dorian, if y'all could be on the coaching staff for one of the bottom 4 teams in the league to help them improve, which team are you picking and what position? So that's
Detroit, first let's
Houston,
identify who are the 4 teams. Detroit,
Houston, Charlotte,
Detroit,
Spurs?
Houston,
Orlando,
and San Antonio.
Oh, San Antonio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're a little worse than Orlando. But
did you say worse?
She did say worser, like as in worsest.
No, I said worse. I did not say worse.
Like worse. Gooder.
Did I say that?
I think
like gooder.
Oh.
And that would be, so we got to get gooder. Let's go.
Okay, so let's get gooder. So let's start. So Hailey, which team you going with and what position?
Ooh, out of those, okay, this might be a hot take. I think I'm gonna go with Houston just because I think they have a good foundation, a good base. I like the players. I think they need somebody that can coach them. Because there are a lot of strong personalities on that team. I would probably bring in a few more pieces, and it's because it's very young, so it may be some veterans.
And would you be head coach?
Am I just GM or head coach?
They said what position? No, they said what your.
What position? I don't know if I'd be a good coach. But maybe like an assistant. Like I'd like to learn through that process as well. But also, be able to work with the guys. So yeah, that would probably be the one I choose. I like Houston. I like the pieces that they got, the energy, just some vets. How about you?
I'm thinking Detroit. And the reason why I'm thinking Detroit, and I want to work in the player development department, I think Cade Cunningham, I think he can be elite at some point. I think that James Wiseman working with him, and I think they're going to win the lottery too on top of that. So to get Wemby over there, I think that you would have some really good pieces, and to develop James Wiseman into the player that I think that he could be. Now, a lot of people say that he's got a low motor. Well, the reason why he's got a low motor is because he's not being coached the right way. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think you could you can't teach effort. No, you can't teach effort, but you could get the most out of guys when you're handling them the right way. And he's one of those guys where if you're involving him the right way, you're going to get the most out of him. So I'd probably be on the staff as a player development coach.
I'm so torn. Because I'm like, oh, Charlotte, and I work for Jim. Man, how do you want to get paid? In every single pair of type of Jordans from every color.
Keep your money, Jay. I work in shoes.
Jay's ever made. That's what I want. But if I'm keeping it 100, I'm going to San Antonio. I'm going to be their assistant coach, specifically handling their offense. And it's because of 2 things. One, the bar's low. There's no expectations in San Antonio. None. I don't got to worry about media. I don't got nothing. Pop handles all that. I'm going to learn under Pop, which means I can now write a check to any damn team I want after, or he's going to retire soon. Maybe I take them over. So I get to start with a
Mhm.
blank slate. I get to learn with one of the greatest coaches, if not the greatest coach of all time, with a team that has no expectations. And now I can be like, I want to try something, because I have some offensive sets and ideas that I think would be like crazy and different, right? I'd be like, I might be the Tex Winters with the triangle. Be like, really? That's what you want to do?
Mm.
And I would learn under the best coach. So that's where I would go. And then
Mhm.
eventually be groomed into taking over that team. Or like I said, who works for coach and who works for Pop as an assistant and doesn't get to pick a team after. So
None of them, none of these
successful,
coaches.
right?
He's got a tree of guys.
Yeah.
100%. He does. Yes, he does.
Okay, Ethan. LeBron stopped the Warriors going 16-0 in 2017.
I don't know what that means.
16-0 as far as like their postseason.
Oh, they only lost. Did they sweep, and then 4-1 the Cavs?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. LeBron did that by himself?
I don't want to talk about LeBron.
I'm just curious. Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I don't know. It was because we were talking about LeBron.
Curious.
Yeah, they lost that one. They lost that one game.
One game
in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Hit 44. Ticket is on live, admitting y'all were right about Doc and Harden. She's taking over teammates. PC gonna be good movie. Gonna be a movie.
I was gonna skip it tomorrow, but you know what? Now
you gotta go.
Oh, what do we talk about with James Harden? What do we talk about with Doc Rivers?
Yeah,
I know you. I know you. So stop acting like I don't know you. You know me.
You say this, right? When you show me who you are, I'll believe you.
Right.
The great Maya Angelou told me a long time ago, when people show you who they are, believe them. I know you. So stop acting like I don't know you.
And shout out. The reason I was going to miss it, but like I said, I'll do a little bit. Is shout out to Mini Magic. I don't know if you know this. My twins, Fluent Juniors, my twins, the girl and the boy. They renamed themselves. So Fluent Junior, he's Mini Mamba. If you saw, he got the Kobe Bryant,
which is dope, by the way. I don't know if you've seen it, right?
I haven't seen the new.
Oh yeah, dope. He got it in the back of his head. It's dope.
I'll show you in a second. And my daughter's like, look, I'm not a very good shooter, but I can pass this, the heck out of the ball. So I'm gonna be Mini Magic. And I'm like, you want to name yourself Mini Magic? What kind of horse you want, honey? I'm buying you a pony.
Yeah, no favorite child, but
if she is a passer, we definitely got to get her on the floor. That's how my man Bobby Hurley was.
Yeah. So while I look that up, so she's got a dance competition tomorrow.
Nice.
And so I am going to take my there it is.
Oh, that's
dope, ain't it?
Yeah, who's his barber? They're always doing sick.
Well, listen, I would shout them out and give them a ton of business, but they don't want to let me film an episode of Fluent and Chill in the barbershop. So no, I'm just kidding. Ultimate Fades. So if you're in the greater Toronto area, they've got multiple locations. Shout out to Ultimate Fades. Sponsorship available on Fluent and Chill. So anyway, she's got a dance competition a couple hours away. So we're gonna, make it like a little family affair and, take the day and whatever. So yeah, but I'll jump on the panel and we can.
Quick side note, Tone. Denver might blow Phoenix out tonight. I'm just saying.
Going
to. They might blow them out tonight. That's
we're 17 minutes away from going to watch the game.
Mm-hmm. They might blow them out tonight.
Do you want to invite some people on? By the way, we got like three super chats. We maybe have 10 minutes. Okay.
Let's do some,
we can get a couple people on. I'm down.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. Okay. Okay. Angie, Chill Ticket felt Larry Brown is overrated on today's show. He's the only coach to win both collegiate and professional titles. Does that help his case?
Yes, it does. And not only did he win at the collegiate and professional level, he also won everywhere he went. Every team he coached made the playoff, with the exception of the Knicks. Take the Knicks out, and that was a disaster. But everywhere else he coached, they made the playoffs. Everywhere.
This whole overrated, underrated thing, I don't know if that was the game that we didn't get to, but this whole overrated, underrated thing is so if you're being honest, it's tough because, well, where do you rank Larry Brown? because I can't tell you if he's overrated or underrated until I know where you rank. Like if you have Larry Brown as the greatest coach of all time, then you have him
He's overrated.
Overrated.
He's
If you
overrated.
say he's a bum, he never should have coached in the NBA, well, then you have him significantly underrated. If you have him somewhere in the middle as a, hey, he was a really good coach, who did some good things, did some
properly rated,
things, then he's properly rated. So
yeah,
like I just
you need the context.
Yeah.
Melo, Giannis is the first player in 50 years to be voted first team unanimous, 5 years elite.
Fact.
Agreed.
When you're the best player in the NBA, it's not.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Okay, Angie, guys, how y'all Laker fans and have hometown teams?
Yeah, Laker fans and hometown teams. I don't know if I understand that.
Okay, I'm not. That's just fluent.
It's significant.
I'm not.
So I am a Laker fan, and I've been a Laker fan my entire life.
Yeah.
My hometown didn't have an NBA franchise until 1995. So by that point, I had been a Laker fan for about 15 years. I'm not jumping ship. I'm not that dude. But I want them to do well. I want, hey, they're the easiest game for me to go watch live. And I love watching live games. So I have a rooting interest because they're here. But I always said this. If the Lakers and Raptors are in the NBA playoffs, I'm wearing my purple and gold, and I want the Raptors to get swept. Like, there's no doubt where my fandom is. But I can have like an East Coast, West Coast kind of thing and be like, hey, this is my kind of East Coast, West Coast team. And I can also appreciate other teams, with the exception of the Celtics. I can cheer for other teams and want them to do well and like their players. Like I've said, Ja's my favorite player to watch, but I'm not a Memphis fan. Like that's the part that drives me nuts. There's so many guys who are like LeBron fans, and they start sporting the Cleveland jersey, the Miami jersey, the Laker jersey, and that becomes their team, right? Like J-Rob. Nah, J-Rob, you're a LeBron fan. Get that ugly jersey that has Cleveland, Miami, and Lakers, like the 3-piece thing, and that's okay. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying be that guy. Don't tell me you're a Laker fan all of a sudden. You're not a Laker fan, because if LeBron were to go to the Pelicans tomorrow, you're not rocking
the Pelicans jersey.
So that's how. So to answer the question, long-winded, is that's how I'm a Laker fan and have a hometown team, because I was a Laker fan for a long, long time before I had a hometown team.
If the Toronto Raptors ended up in the NBA Finals in the bubble, Tone would have been riding with the Lakers. 100%.
Oh, 1,000,000%. 100%.
Well, and you probably get to go see Toronto. You build a bond because you.
I would be that guy in the stands with my Lakers stuff on.
Let's go.
Because I'm in the wrong city. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Do you have time? Do you want to have? I'll put the link, but feel free if you had a game or you had something else. I think you want to talk maybe even NFL. I'll put the link in if anybody wants to join and has something they want to talk about. But
well, we did talk about that. What you call it, Tone? I mean, the NFL schedule just came out today.
Jake, kind of give us your overview.
The schedule came out today. My 49ers. I think I'm loving our schedule. I am. We open up against the Steelers. Yeah.
Hey.
I got another super chat. I'll deal with it after you go ahead.
We open up against the Steelers. We play the whole NFC East and we play the whole AFC North. Right. So with that being said, we got Lamar Jackson on the schedule. We got the Giants on
the AFC East.
No, the AFC North.
Oh, the AFC.
We play the NFC East.
Cincinnati, Baltimore, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh.
Yes, sir.
You're happy about that?
I do love it. And we play the NFC East too.
I'd rather have the AFC South.
Yeah, and we play the AFC East too.
Yeah, that's true. Wait,
the whole NFC East.
Wait, really quick. Did you guys see Tom Brady might not be taking his media deal?
I told you.
Here we go.
I told you.
Wait a second. What does that mean?
Oh my God. It doesn't mean anything, H. Don't get Tone started with this.
No, but I saw it.
Don't get Tone started with this.
He's the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins.
No, he is not, yo.
Not Miami.
Yes, he is.
Oh my God. Do not get Tone started with this. Tom Brady is going to be 46 years old on opening night.
True Hero is going to come on real quick. Let me quickly answer Angie's because she has two super chats. Okay, so okay, then explain being a Bears fan. Well, Toronto still doesn't have an NFL team as much as I've been trying to get them one. And so I had an uncle who lived in Chicago and said, yo, you got to watch real football, not like soccer and not like that 3-down stuff you guys play in Canada. And showed me a Bears game. And the Bears played the Detroit Lions. Mike Ditka, his rookie year as head coach. Walter Payton, I think, had like a 63-yard touchdown. And they beat the Lions by a field goal in overtime. And I just saw Walter Payton run, and I was like, damn.
You on the hook. Those are your boys.
And then, you know, like anything in 80, I don't want to say the year, but you know what year it is. If you can look up what year Mike Ditka was a rookie head coach. They were really good. And a couple of years later, they win the Super Bowl, and they're doing the Super Bowl shuffle, and they're rapping, and, you know, you got the quarterback wearing sunglasses, and he's a jerk with a headband on. And I'm like, oh, and I'm a young kid. I'm like, yeah, that's my team. And again, I'm very loyal to my teams. All of my teams, I've been with them for decades, and I refuse to, no matter what happens, I refuse to jump ship. So that's why not Buffalo or Green Bay or, you know, any because that's
H. Don't ever let anybody tell you that we have commitment issues. I had the same football team since I was 9 years old, and I had the same barber until I was 30 years old, and then he died, and I learned to cut my hair myself. So
bro,
you do not have. Just so you know,
I met Mrs. Fluent when we were 4 years old in junior kindergarten. Come on, man. All right, true hero.
How do you guys?
What's up?
Yo, before I get to my topic, because it was on a chill TikTok video you were saying about the All NBA, but I'm gonna get to that real quick. But first, I want to say it's a trend because I'm seeing everyone saying LeBron gonna win a 3-1 lead. Fluent. I don't think people understand that when Memphis Game 5. They smoke Lakers. Smoke. Game 6, blow them out. So everyone's saying LeBron gonna blow the 3-1 lead. Game 6 gonna be either a blowout or just a win in general.
Oh boy.
Don't think he's blowing this 3-1 lead. But chill. I heard you, and even Draymond Green said who Mitchell deserved, because Mitchell.
I think we lost him.
We lost him.
You had him, and we
lost
him.
Chill, this is why I don't think Mitchell should make it though. I get the playoff thing you're talking about, but we can't account how good Luka and Shea was. Now, I did think he had a better season than Shea.
Donovan Mitchell on the All NBA team? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, I did think he had a better season than Shea. But chill, for you to say Luka and Shea to not be on there is just crazy. Nah, Luka definitely was undisputably the best.
What are you basing this on? What are you basing Luka being a first team all NBA performer on? What are you basing that on?
Well, we can't ignore the stats.
Okay, I get that
35
keep going.
That is not.
He did not average 35 a game, but keep going.
I mean, well, my fault. I think it was a 32, 8 and 7 or something like that.
Okay,
that is not.
Just so you know, Carmelo Anthony led the league in scoring in 2012, and he did not make first team All NBA. So keep going.
But he had eight rebounds in those 7. Oh,
actually, he averaged 6 rebounds a game. But keep going. And his team made the playoffs too, by the way. Just so you know.
And with that being said, I get with the Kyrie add-in, feel me. We want to see how that dynamic gonna work, which is why I think you can't really blame that on Luka. The Mavericks were trying to help. They fell, but Luka still had a fantastic season.
So with that being said, what you just said, this is what I want you to do for me right now on Fluent and Chill. I want you to name me, since you've been watching the game, the best guard in the league. His team did not make the playoffs. Name him.
I think this might be the first time this happened.
How about that?
There's always one. All right, we got Timothy Hobbs. Timothy Hobbs is up next. Thanks, True Hero.
Okay,
Timothy Hobbs wants to talk about KAT, and then like our good friend Sebastian's going to jump on after that. What's up, Timothy?
What's going on? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
What's going on, Chill? So I got a question for you about KAT. What's your biggest issue with him?
My biggest issue with him, the same issue that I had with Chris Webber. When the bets get higher, he cheeses up.
All right, so let me ask you something. Is the Timberwolves one of the worst organizations in the NBA history?
No.
So you're telling me that the Timberwolves are not one of the worst run organizations in NBA history?
One of the worst run organizations in NBA history?
I would say they are.
Okay, so then let me ask you this then. They haven't until recently, they haven't built a solid unit around KAT. So that's why I'm trying to figure out your logic. Like, they got Jimmy Butler, for instance. Do you know who they traded Jimmy Butler for in Philadelphia?
Yeah, who did they trade him for?
They traded him for Robert Covington and Dario Saric.
Mm-hmm.
They've never built a proper unit around them.
Now, the guy that you just said they traded him for Robert Covington, who was a defender,
Dario Saric,
who was a long ball shooter, and the reason why they got those guys because they already had KAT and they already had who else? The other number 1 overall pick in the draft, which is Andrew Wiggins.
Okay.
So they were building that unit around those two guys, and they were building that. They were building players around those guys to complement them.
Okay. Did they build him correctly though?
Why not? I mean, Robert Covington was an all-league defender.
Yeah, but he wasn't really that in Minnesota though. Is what I'm trying.
And why wasn't he that in Minnesota?
Chill. I live in Minnesota. I've watched every single Timberwolves game. I'm telling you, he wasn't really like that in Minnesota. And on top of that, they had Zach LaVine. They traded Zach LaVine to Chicago for a year and a half for Jimmy Butler.
Right.
Makes zero sense.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. How'd that go for you guys?
It didn't. It didn't really. We went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
It got smoked by Houston.
Mm-hmm.
It got smoked by Houston in 5 games. We should have got swept.
And are we gonna leave out the fact that KAT averaged 15 a game in those playoffs?
No. Chill. What I'm saying is, he folds. Don't get me wrong, but
that's my point. That's the whole point.
But you don't understand what I'm saying though. They haven't properly built the unit around.
I just gave you examples. Jimmy Butler, who is the dog, who is pushing you guys to get better. Robert Covington, who was a defender, and the pieces that he's putting around this guy. Saric, who's a long ball shooter, to complement Andrew Wiggins and KAT. But instead, what we get is we get KAT when the bets get higher, he folds up, which is what he did.
True indeed.
That is a fact.
No, I got one more question. Let me ask you this.
All right, quick, because we got 2 more guys and we only got 3 more minutes. Go ahead.
Is that Rudy Gobert trade arguably the worst trade in NBA history?
Maybe. That may be
top 3. Top 3.
Timothy, I'm going to tell you this. Timothy. I think you're right. Minnesota might be one of the worst.
No. Not one of the worst.
Maybe they might be. All right, brother. Thank you.
All right, yo.
Thank you.
That's a good one. Sebastian.
Hello, guys.
What's up, brother?
Tell me we're going to talk about the 1946 NBA season.
Oh, I got you. You're talking about the Knicks and Huskies game?
The Knicks and Huskies, yes, sir.
Knicks won that, was it 68-66?
66-63.
Oh.
Come on, man.
Sorry,
just so you know, Sebastian's helping me pull footage because I think I've told you guys that I'm doing the history of the NBA every single year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what's been the hardest part is getting footage. So Sebastian's going to help me find footage from each year in those 40s and 50s seasons. After that, it's not that hard, but 40s and 50s is hard.
So,
go ahead. What's up? we got Sebastian, then we got Dorian, and then we're going to go watch basketball. So go.
What's up, brother?
Tatum had your back, chill. He showed up.
When you ride with somebody, you ride with them. And don't get me wrong, it's hard to defend guys when they have outings like that. But when you end, you end. And Jason Tatum's my guy. He's my guy.
Hey, he hit
unlike a lot of these front running Andrew and not a lot of these front running Jason Tatum fans that they only ride with him when he's rolling, but when he's not rolling. And I'm gonna get I'm gonna get you on board, H. I'm telling you, it's gonna take me a minute, but I'm gonna get you on board, H.
It's not. I think it might take like 3 years to come around. But.
If I have to go and listen to Mrs. Fluent one more time, tell me, see, even when he has a bad game, he hits crucial shots. That's Jason. She's been on Jason Tatum for years. Like he's going to
try to tell you something, H. I'm going to get you on board, H. I'm telling you.
I stink. I can't.
I mean, if he's consistent, then yeah, I'll come around. But and I think he can. He can. But you always say at year 5, you see kind of where they're going to be, and he's at year 6 now. So, but like you said, he has all the tools. He has to just put it together. But yeah.
Chill. I hate to tell you, but I'm on the same page as Hailey. I think Tatum's overrated slightly, just slightly overrated. Like they call him a top 5 player in the league. He's a good top 10 player, like maybe like the lower 10. I don't know.
When did a top 10 player become a bad thing?
It's not.
Think
It's
about
he's
this.
a superstar. He's not a
Imagine.
superstar.
The way you said it,
That's
he's not
where
top 5. But okay, he's top 10. It's like, oh, you're top 10. You suck.
But can he be that? Can he be that? Yeah, I'm sure. I think he will.
And what's
It'll
up with
take some time.
sorry? What's up with Phoenix wanting to get blown out every single elimination game?
They're down by 20
Yeah,
right now.
that's
by the way.
actually
Good,
such a good point.
good.
I know. I'm
They're,
watching.
they're down 20 right
Down
now.
20.
20?
Which, yeah, they're down 20 right now.
54
Phoenix
to
is-
33.
Wait, so you're gonna tell me I'm going to be 0 for 2 tonight because I picked Philly and Phoenix.
You
Me
picked
too.
Phoenix to win?
I said,
I thought they were gonna push to game 7. I thought they were going to push to game 7 and then
Yeah.
lose. Yeah.
But having
Well-
Ayton out, that's so good.
Yeah. Well, I didn't
too.
know that at the time.
Yeah.
Phoenix is my finals
You got a
pick.
Philly bed? What's up with that? What's up with that wood in the background there?
What do you, hold on, FIFA boy. What are you talking about? I'm all over the place. Am I a Jason Tatum? Am I a Jason Tatum guy or not? That's a yes or no
very
question.
clearly a
Oh,
Jason.
So what
You
are you
just
talking
stood
about,
by
FIFA?
him.
FIFA,
You started the show saying Tatum sucks.
right? But is that my guy? Yes or no?
I don't know. We listen.
No.
We got one more minute for super user, super goat status, Dorian. So, and
All right.
let's ask you got anything else, brother?
All right, brother.
No, I
Talk
got
to me.
I got the footage for you. Fluent.
Yes. Okay. We'll talk after. We'll talk
Bye,
after.
guys.
Hi,
Appreciate
Sebastian.
you.
Have a good
Bye.
night.
Me either, bro. Be easy, brother.
KD is
he's-
1 of
he's-
8 right now.
He's fat. I love that dude. What's
Yo,
up?
what's going on? What's going on?
What
How
up?
are you?
First of all, let me just say this. I love this channel. I love watching y'all. Been watching y'all since last year. Y'all been helping me get through these crazy days at work. One question I'm gonna ask. One question I'm gonna ask later on when we find out who's in the final. I'm gonna ask the same question I asked last year. I love these little hypotheticals. If the two teams in the finals can grab a player from each team they beat to get there, how would y'all think the games would go? I remember asking that last year, and it was like it was a nice little fun question for y'all to have.
So if last year, if the Boston Celtics, they definitely taking Giannis to the finals with them.
They taking Giannis. We
Yeah,
know
One
that.
hundred
We know they
percent.
taking Giannis.
They taking Giannis to the final
Yeah.
with them, and
Oh, yeah.
Giannis, Jimmy Butler.
in Boston, who are they taking with them? I think they taking Joel Embiid with them.
Every round or just in the Eastern and
Wait.
Every round. Every round.
Every round.
Every
Every
round?
This year, we're doing
opponent.
it this
Every
year. We're doing it
opponent
this
that they
year.
got. Every opponent that they beat to get there. That's what I'm asking.
Wow.
So this year it
That would be it. So I'm gonna ask that same question. If I'm able to come on, I'll come on. Send super chat. I'll come on. I'll ask that same question
Mhm.
for y'all
That's
whenever
a
we
good
find out who
question.
gets to the
Let
finals.
me go through real quick. So who the Lakers beat in the first round?
It's
Memphis.
not going to be the
Mhm.
Lakers, Fluent. The
So-
Lakers.
Go ahead, Fluent. Go ahead. Live in your fantasy world, Fluent. Live in your fantasy world.
So the Lakers,
Yeah, I got
so the Lakers are going to take Ja. In the next round,
Okay.
they beat
Golden
The
State.
Warriors,
Go say.
they took Steph, a little
They
guard.
took Steph.
but Okay.
and of
Okay.
course they're going to take
They're gonna take
Joker.
Jokic.
They take
They
They're
Jokic.
gonna take Jokic. Jokic and AD.
That is so not fair.
That is
That's
like
not fair.
LeBron,
Wow.
Steph, Jokic.
That's not fair.
Oh,
Don't lie
Jokic
like that.
and AD.
That's not fair.
Plus
It's not.
25 is Ja, Steph,
Steph,
LeBron,
Ron,
AD, and Jokic.
AD, Jokic. That's that's an NBA 2K team right there.
That wouldn't be a starting
Yeah,
five because Adam
absolutely.
Silver would shut the door. Now we're not having the
He
finals.
shut
No,
it
we're not
down.
doing
Yeah.
He
that.
shut
And
there's
that
not
is-
enough cap room for that.
No, we ain't
No,
doing that. No,
Dorian,
And then-
Dorian makes
No.
the rules. I like
no,
these.
we ain't doing that. No way are we doing that.
But my one question, just to end it off, because I know y'all ain't got that much time left. I'm a Chicago Bulls fan. I love that we had picked up Lonzo when we did. I hate that he's been injured for this long, but recovery time is recovery time. So whenever he comes back, we'll see what happens. My one question I have, I love what he did with Chicago. What do you think he could have did if they would just sign and trade with Boston?
So he would have ended
And
up in Boston.
If Lonzo would have ended up in Boston instead of Chicago, let's just say he stays healthy, this hypothetical world, let's say he stays healthy this whole time. What do you think he would have did to help that team out? Do you think I think he would have did more with the better pieces that Boston has?
I actually loved him in Chicago. I thought he was the difference.
I
I had
do too.
y'all as
I do too.
I had y'all as
too.
a top
Trust me,
five.
that's what I'm saying.
I had the Bulls as a
That's
top
what I'm saying.
5 seed before he got hurt
Dude.
and before the word was out that he wasn't playing. I had the Bulls as a
Mhm.
top 5 seed in the East, and that was because of him. He was the engine that was going to get them to go.
I love
100%
it.
he was.
I love the play. I love the play. Trust me, I would not want to get rid of Lonzo. That's why I'm just like, let's see what happens when he comes back.
Who would come back?
Who would not be on the team? Who was involved in that? Like, who wouldn't be on Boston right now if he was there?
Shoot,
Probably Malcolm Brogdon.
But somebody else in that year. Who would it be?
Had to be somebody else.
Williams? Would
Well,
Rob
they
Williams
probably moved Marcus Smart too.
Yeah, they probably would have to.
Talking about moving Marcus Smart, but
they probably would have
to. I think Smart makes the Bulls better, but I don't think he makes them as good as what Lonzo would have done for them.
Oh no, I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about him going to the Bulls. I'm talking about him. I'm talking about Lonzo. I'm not
sure Lonzo makes the Celtics that much better. I don't know how much. I don't know how much better he fits with that unit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah.
Cool.
Great question. Thank you so much.
No problem. Y'all great. Love the show.
Appreciate you, little brother. We're gonna keep giving it to you like we can. We're gonna keep trying to give you this good content. We'll do everything that we can, brother. No doubt. I'm going out on a limb, Tone. Monty Williams might get fired at the end of the season. I'm putting it out.
He's absolutely getting fired at the end of the season.
I know. I've heard that, but he's one of my favorite coaches.
And it's not his fault.
No.
Which is.
I haven't heard anything about that, but I'm looking at what's going on right now, and
I heard it on today. Actually, I think one of the shows was talking about that. It's pretty sad.
This is a great thing to end the show on.
Okay, Angie, always bringing us life. You'll see Jackson Mahomes now trying to get the court to let him go in contract some of the witnesses involved in the case.
We need clown music. That's what we need. Yes. We need clown music, like the goofy logic. I can't believe this is
all I got. The closest thing is every time I hear his name.
Oh my god! Like or the one that you have. Would you shut the
emotional?
I have theories of.
This one.
You keep talking, man, and you shut the fuck up.
Please, what are you doing, B? What is going on with you? Quiet already.
This guy is so jealous of his brother and so starved for attention. It is.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It is like sad. Go get therapy. Go get help.
Yeah.
You're not him. You're never gonna be him. Go be you. Go get a job at Circuit City or whatever the hell you're capable of doing. Stop doing silly TikTok dances and just be you, dude.
Get a job. That's number one.
I guarantee you, if you want to start a business, Patrick will fund that. If you have a good business plan, because he's
whatever you want to do, he'll get behind you. 100%.
He doesn't have it doesn't seem like he has any
ambition
or work ethic or any type of anything that's going to be preparing for the real world. I don't know what is
like I said, Tone. Whenever he talk, whenever we have super chats where he's talking. Cue the clown music.
We have to have that.
Cue the clown music when that dude talk.
Wherever, go.
Give me a break.
Yeah, but now he's facing the music. But even this might be a slap on the wrist for him.
Didn't he build up a big TikTok following? I don't know if it's because he's Patrick Mahomes' brother, but hey, start an agency, start a social media agency that you help other people build up their social media brands. Like there's so many things you can do when you don't have to worry about, where am I going to live and how am I going to eat?
Exactly.
So go do that and just be happy.
You actually don't have to worry about that. What are we talking about here?
Man,
I'm just thinking about the cue the clown music. That's what we should be doing right now. Like talking about this dude. Cue the clown music for this dude. Give me a break.
It's really sad to see, but yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, all right, you guys. Well, I'm gonna shout out the GOAT members that we have. We have a new one. We have Comatose, Jeremiah Simar, and of course Dorian Clayton, who we just had jump on. So shout out to you three. Shout out to y'all in the chat. As usual, thanks for being here this Thursday, and we'll see you next week. Jay?
Take it light, but take it.
I didn't know there was a